So, we just saw the. How do you say your name properly? Colorin or Colorin? Or how do you
So
say your name?
cull works just fine, but it's technically like Cullern, which
Colorin?
I thought about when I was making my profile and my nickname. I'm like, this is the worst possible nickname in terms of like remembering ever.
You say Colorin?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like to call something and learn is the
Ah,
best way to remember it.
okay.
Coley also works. Call, yeah.
Call it a day. That's interesting. All right. So if you guys have any questions for Colin, it was actually a very interesting video. You suggested first person apparently to suggest feeding A units to other units. Spicy topic. We spoke about it a little bit last week. There's multiple avenues on it. Uh do it if it's worth it on taking the hit for your account now immediately, because especially if you're racing for tower, the juicy tower prizes that everyone loves. Do you have anything to like add on to that a little bit more?
I'm not gonna lie, I even though I said it's okay to feed your A units, I have fed very, very few of my A units. I think I fed a Guile at one point and was too traumatized when it was my only Guile to I never did it again. I'm like chapter 29 now.
i'm
Uh
I'm not gonna lie, I've done it a few times, and but here's the thing is like I am feeling the effect. So,
mhm.
there is no denying it. Like, no, I feel it. I'm sorry, Toppy. I feel it. Like, cause like,
I think
I
that was more of a personal thing that I don't feel anything, not the
oh, he's like, he's just like, I don't care. No, I feel it. Because the thing is I tend to remember the units. So where I'm at now, and I'm looking at like how my units are laid out, I'm like, man, this unit could have been triple S. Man, this unit could have been double S, and it sucks. But at the time, I don't regret it. Like, I fed some units to get Elena S triple S. I fed some units to get Dawson triple S. Like, those are my units that are important now and probably forever. So I made choices. Yeah, I
so
know my other units wouldn't be triple S exactly.
I think it was it Tix? No, Sai asked, what does Dan actually even do? He taunts the enemies so they hit him more and provides damage resist down to the enemy. So who knows how that's gonna go, but
Is he a
I'm looking
tank?
very forward to it. Uh he's an agile support type.
Oh my. Oh no, Dan is definitively food. Uh, no, he's definitely food. But if you have six awesomes and you need only four triple S,
Bro, that box is spicy. So I don't think my video like had anything that anybody would have too many questions about. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about like what my plans are. And
yeah,
somebody
sure.
did mention during the video like it's nice to see people cover the basics. That's kind of what I wanted because I want to put out content that a lot of people who are just getting into the game might be a lot more comfortable learning about and stuff like that. But I also wanted, obviously you saw the challenge run that I'm like looking forward to, but I also want to put out more content that is Street Fighter related in the future. And I think Street Fighter Duel was a perfect stepping point to like springboard into six when it drops and stuff like that. Because I've been enjoying the heck out of this game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to if the game even does anything with Street Fighter 6, because it would be it's only smart business. If you want money, Street Fighter 6 comes out, Street Fighter Duel should do something uh alongside it. I'm not saying like a Street Fighter 6 unit, but like do something, an event celebrating it, and then launch a another maybe a exclusive global exclusive. I can't say global, a Crunchyroll A+ exclusive unit or something, I think that would be dope.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is if they drop JP in this game, I'll be like, oh boy,
I mean,
man's looking clean.
yeah, there's a lot. Like if I had to pick from the new ones, I'm a big fan of Marissa. Like her design, like she's like pseudo grappler. I think she reminds me a lot of like Laura. 'Cause I believe she has like an insane command grab and stuff like that. So that's what I'm being told. I'm not a street fight. I'm not a fighting expert. I know some people in here are actually from the fighting game community. There's a lot of
I
that.
just
There's a
I
lot.
just want to say, Turtle, that Laura is just like B tier. His command grab is not abusable. It's so predictable. Sorry.
I mean, listen. All I know is I Dom mains her. So if one of the best in the world uses her, I can't say anything against it. Like, 'cause I have no experience. So if I see like one of the top players in the world use her, that gotta tell me something that she's a little bit more than trash.
I
I was
really
just
want her back. I like her a lot.
I was just gonna nod and shake my head because I played like maybe 10 hours, 15 hours max of Street Fighter 5, and I'm very excited for Street Fighter 6,
Oh,
but I
you
am
played more than I have. I just like I like watching competitive gameplay of a lot of games.
the most experience I have with Ryu and Ken is Smash Bros, and that says more than you ever need to know about me, I feel like.
Oh man, no, I have a little bit more experience than that. I grew up on Street Fighter. It's just that like over time, and with kids, yeah, other dads
Mhm.
will know it ain't easy.
Right. So I will say I have a hitbox coming in and I want to learn how to play Street Fighter on that, and I'm very excited to be awful at that for like a month until 6 comes out and then probably worse. No, I've been playing the 6 demo, Valiant.
Oh, is it out?
Yeah, it's out on all platforms now, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Oh, I gotta download it. Play it with my kids. All right, so back on topic. Street Fighter duels. One thing that I did want to talk about was teams, because a lot of people are getting close to the motherland of passing 240. They're breaking that great barrier, and they're breaking the barrier of chapter 30. There's a lot of people that are just they're just getting there. That by sheer will, force, and skill, a lot of people are doing it. And but there's also a lot of people who like to plan ahead. So you eventually get to a point within the game where you need multiple teams. I believe it's a max of 4 or 5. I'm not sure. I myself am not there. But I know it's minimum of 4, I believe, and maximum of 5. So we want to start talking about at least the second team, and where in terms of like who you should be looking at and maybe why. Um, for example, I know it seems that a lot of people, if you're free to play, it seems that you're either the Viper camp, the Gaio camp, uh, or even the very few, the Dalsum camp. I don't know what else is there. Fire Fashion Blanca. Some people actually use him as a main damage dealer, and with each one of these, they're like you can use them as a secondary team. So like if you use Guile, you have the Viper and Dawson as as a secondary, and all the alternate combos. But also, I wanted other people to think about like different teams outside of the norms, because like for example, I was thinking of a quick team of Abel and Blanca, and because I was like, how can, in terms of using shields to the maximum potential, and with Abel being able to give shields with his initial super and his two combo two, and Blanca on his own, his passive is he gives shields out. I think every initially it's 8 seconds, but it gets shortened to 5 seconds or something like that. And he starts, Oprah Winfrey. You get a shield, you get a shield, you get a shield. Everyone gets a shield. So with the combination of them two just dropping bombs on with like just constant wave of shields, Blanca's shields just 10% of the unit's health, not as good as blocking the whole hit. Yeah, that's
Mm.
correct. But that's why I wanted to pair him with Abel because Abel's shields are based off of hit, just flat. It completely blocks out damage. But
I
it,
feel
yeah,
I was gonna say I feel like the main issue with it is that Fashion Blanca or do you mean Fashion Blanca, right?
no, I mean regular Blanca.
Okay. Let me double check then, because I was gonna say I know Fashion Blanca at least takes up the same like supers and combos that Abel would, but
Yeah, no, definitely that he definitely does. But I believe Blanca has a combo one, if I'm
yep,
not
combo
mistaken.
1 and a combo 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you would like do something like combo one, you would do super Abel, Blanca, and then Abel, and then a DPS as your ender. And obviously this would be a more tankier team in terms of like compared to like a beef team or like something else. But we're thinking of alternatives of like secondary and tertiary, whatever the word is, of teams of like you know what can be potential.
Right. I'm looking at what
Are we talking?
side.
Are we talking defense? Like, because
No,
I
we're
mean, you
talking.
said
So we're talking in terms of all team potentials in the second team
oh,
slot, the third team slot. I
like
just I just brought that
like I
team
thought,
as a suggestion or an idea. I want people to
yeah,
think outside of the box, outside of Bison, outside of Beef. Like yes, we
yeah,
have Dowsum teams. Yes, we have Viper teams. Yes, we have
yeah,
Guile
yeah, yeah,
teams. But
yeah.
what else do we have? Because
I so
Specifically for challenge stages, right?
well,
oh,
for
challenge.
everything, because we're gonna
Okay.
get to like in story mode, you're gonna get to a point where you have to have these
Oh,
things.
that
Right.
yeah, that the I think more players are more accustomed to setting three teams in like Super Showdown and the current PvP event.
Yep.
So the point I wanted to make was like you can see your opponent's teams in the top right corner when you select 1, 2, or 3 on your menu. The top right corner will show you what your opponent has set at 1, 2, or 3. So is you're basically playing to the counterplay of what your opponent has already set for their defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is you can set a defensive team, but it's almost like you have to have a hybrid, or you have to have a hybrid instead of like when you're on the offense it's easy because you can be like, oh, I can scoop the first and second team because his and then the last player's team, like the third team is usually where they stick to trash, or vice versa. Some point I for me personally on defense, I throw all my low level units out first, depending on what I see set on defense on other teams on Super Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I am looking at the bigger ecosystem of what players have available to them in draft mode, where you have all of the S rank characters available and all of the cars available to them, and you where the whales and krakens exist. Then you could definitely do a deep dive into team archetypes like stall or burn or debuffs. But for your average player or your casual player, you're on offense, you're setting your teams to counteract what you're going up against. But on defense, you don't really have a lot to stymie your opponent's advances, because either their team is just outright more powerful than yours, or your opponent is more flexible on offense than you are on defense. On defense, you're hoping your opponent makes a mistake so that way you don't get your points minus. But on offense, it's miles easier to accomplish your goal of obtaining points than it is defense of saving your points. So you have an easier time accumulating your rank points, but you have a harder time defending it. So I think the I just jumped into the conversation. So when, on the topic of setting three teams to accomplish goals in the PvP
Well,
style of play,
it's goals with PvP PvE. It's all around because
yeah,
we're prepping
well,
like the future because like a
yeah,
lot
it's
of free to
always
play players like to plan ahead because you have the
yeah
options to pick. Like for example, like how it's been suggested, you should have 3 food and 2 units in your wish list.
wish list. Yeah,
So like you
you
have some form of control, quote
yeah.
unquote, into like how you can like guide your account. So we're
Set
talking about teams of like opening that
Yeah,
up.
so set I would say if you're I'm only on chapter 22, so I'm probably not the best example, but from what I've noticed or what I've observed with different players on YouTube and Discord and what I've seen, it's like when you're setting your three teams, you just separate them into different categories. You're gonna have three DPS units like Guile, Sea Viper, and Cammy, or Guile, Dulcim, and even Poison is a really weird DPS that has utility with the silence. And then in front of Poison, you're gonna have, or in front of your DPS, you're gonna have characters like Bisangif, Abel, E Honda, to a certain extent Makoto. You can have Makoto on the same teams, and PVE is hard because you have, or any challenge is hard because you have the timer, right? If you could just
Yeah.
timer stall, if you have, if you
If
could just timer
you could
stall
just
on your
stall
second team,
forever and just turtle,
yeah,
that would be the
that would be
best.
fantastic. It's
Oh,
like,
that would be
okay,
amazing.
yeah,
Free to play
you're
casual actually suggested a couple of teams I'd like to read out. He said team one, Street Poison, Guile, Beastman, Bison with Chun-Li
yeah.
and Cammy. Though, yeah, I said no
That was
Bison
like an
Beastang.
anchor.
That's a
That is
staple
definitely an anchor
team.
type of team, though.
Yeah, that's
Like
a
the
staple team.
Bison is you're like when you're setting three teams to accomplish to win, like in the story challenge. I would think Bison would be on the team that you would have the weakest units who couldn't out DPS. So like you
Yeah,
would save your Bison in the hopes that you could throw weaker units behind him and to sponge up the damage. But Bison only really works against teams in that way if
so
your opponent's team shoots
I
projectiles.
I have a the way I play. I have 2 accounts. One is a Beast and Geef account. One is a Bison account, and
Yeah.
I don't run them together.
Yeah.
My main account is the one with Bison, and the way I run it is I use Dawson, Fashion Blanca, and Elena, and then I basically interchange combos, and I have
Yeah.
E Honda and Abel and Fei Long as my assist, and I interchange depending on if I need the defenses versus offense. And then my other
Yeah.
team is the standard Gaio, Beast, Zangief, Abel. I like Elena as
Yeah.
my support.
I mean, if you're staring down a really beefy Ryu on your opponent's team, like just throw Bison in front of him. Like
That's
Mad Ryu literally cannot do anything against Bison.
Wait, unless your Bison's stupid like mine and likes to fly in the air, and then Mad Ryu does his Hadouken under him
Yeah,
and
you
kills
gotta
your whole
take him off of
team.
the combos. You gotta take him off. You literally just have him stand there. You gotta take him off of the combo chain.
He's not on my combos ever.
Oh.
He just likes to
When-
fly in the air when he gets hit.
Bison triggers his passive, that's when other units can use their single targets to hit through them. And that's what I was going to say is it kind of depends on what kind of team you're playing against.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you've got your Chun-Li and stuff.
It's not kind of. It's verifiably like the way you set up your line
Right.
up is
And so I think like
depending on what you're going up against. Like whatever the defense have set up, you have to counter.
Right. And I think that that's kind of what it will be. I think there has to be a difference between your PvP and your PvE teams because your PvE teams, you're pushing for content, you're actively like with the team that Free to Play Casual put, I was like, I kind of want that Street Poison on a different lineup than my my Beast Geef. And maybe when 3 teams come out, like
Yeah.
having that steal their tank, like whatever the beefiest tank is in the 3 lineups, like I think would be really cool.
Yeah, this is where you have to
yeah,
like
the
diversify the team a little bit more. Well, especially in the terms of PvE, because
Mhm.
it's like you're limiting your amount of interrupts because normally as before then, your beef is carrying most people. You know, for the most part. Like from what if you're trying to push content hard, you're using Beast Zangief, Interrupt, and a DPS like Guile, Viper, whatever your choice is, and you're just ruining the enemy's team. Some people are sitting there for half hour to an hour or more repeating the same match. But that's if, like, again, that's if you're pushing content.
That's the slot machine, right? Like you're
Yeah.
like it's there. You can make an observation that at the point where you're pulling the lever on the slot machine to get an interrupt or a stun, like you're not supposed to really be doing that yet, in my opinion. And if you're like, the game only has 41 chapters, you're on chapter, I don't know, 35 or 38, and you're like getting to that cusp of that the literal end game, the ending of the game. It's like, you think that you've hit a wall and you did really good and you've accomplished a lot, but there's like at a certain point, it's like, what what tools is the game giving us to succeed, either than be Zangief to get past these kinds of things? And it's just be Zangief right now, which is enough, but it puts a lot of priority on that unit.
Yeah, I like to annoy people and call him cheese. I use him, so I'm not like hating on him. It's just I'm just saying,
There's
like
no
when a unit is like, yes, his skill is within the confines of the game. I completely get it. Yes, you have it's all I hear all that. It's just, for me, is when you use something to a point that it abuses. Like, if Beast D&D wasn't there, would you be
it
at
would be a
chapter
completely
30?
different story.
Would you be
It'd be
at
a
that
completely
chapter that
different
you're
game.
at? And be
No.
honest. Be honest with yourself. And I'm asking everybody that's hearing, be honest within yourself. Listen to your heart and be honest. Delete Beast Zangief from your soul. Would you be at the chapter you are at without him? I think the
Here's my
answer is
thing.
no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Here's my thing about B Zangief. Beyond what he does as a character or what he allows people to accomplish, the mere existence of his kit denies any kind of variance. Because like, so Beef Zangief as a unit is unique. He's a unique unit. Bison is a unique unit.
Yeah.
And they're unique in what they do. So you cannot design another character that interrupts or stuns like Zangief. It's got to be one or the other. So it really limits the ceiling, because they've already created such an overachieving type of kit. Like the kits, every other kit that's not Beast Zangief or Bison, or I mean, to a certain extent, like, so you have Guile, you have Dulcim, and I mean, Thunder doesn't really have an AoE DPS. A poison really fits.
Blanca.
Poison.
To be
Oh yeah,
honest,
Blanca fits that,
that's
but
the only
he's more of a
reason
tank.
why I thought of Blanca with Abel, because I was like, wait,
Yeah.
how the hell do I get AoE
But you can't.
DPS? He
You
was the
can't
only
make
one I
another
thought.
unit like B Sync.
No.
You cannot make another unit like B Zangief anymore. You just, so like, they've already reached a potential unit, or denied a potential unit, to change the dynamic of the game, because the players have accelerated the growth way too much because of the kit.
I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, because like I think of other gachas that have similar roles, like Genshin, for example, has Venti was one of the best characters on release and is still very viable because he has a CC ultimate that can group all of the enemies together. And they released another wind unit like Venti that does something very similar, but still feels a different role. So I think that it isn't out of the question for them to develop or release characters.
How long in between the two characters was the release though? Like, I don't. I'm
I
like-
want to say maybe a year and a half.
okay. So the horizon. We haven't reached the end of the horizon. It's
Absolutely
just,
not. No.
it takes a lot of time, and they need to establish, because I don't know if they can just keep increasing the difficulty of the chapters. You would create an ecosystem where you have the whales who are able to complete that kind of kind of challenge. So they keep raising the bar instead of determining how wide the bar should be. You know
Right.
what I
I
mean?
think that the
Well, I think
next
that's the
logical
purpose.
I think the next logical step would be to build outwards, like more events, more ways to do things, rather than
There needs to be
because
there
it'll
needs to be a
become. Go ahead.
objective. So yeah, I sorry, I'm cutting you off. That's my fault. But basically, there needs to be objectives or challenges that have restrictions, like how the faction towers exist.
Mhm.
If they create an ecosystem where every unit kind of matters, or let's say you have to set 2 B rank units on your team, and then you have
I
to
would love
figure it
that.
out.
Let's go.
You have to set two. You have to set 2 B rank units, and you can't use wind. Good luck. You know
because
that would be crazy.
otherwise, it would just become I'm trying to think of the word, but it's essentially just like DPS checks where they have this
Yeah.
absurd amount of health,
You're-
and they just keep raising the amount of health that the units have, and it's just a slog to get through.
Oh yeah, you just create bigger sponges. Like you don't need to create bigger sponges. You just have to figure out different ways to clean a mess. But no, yeah, I think that would be probably the best. It would
I
put
like
more
that B
emphasis.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so me and another user we got way too far. Oh no, it was Hank McCoy, Mr. Hank. I don't know where Hank is, but I hope he's doing okay. But
Hmm.
basically the idea was is how do you retain the emphasis on B rank units, and how do you achieve an ecosystem where all of the units matter? You have to create.
Less Dan.
Yeah, well, you don't have to necessarily raise their rank. You just have to make them necessary to complete content,
Right.
because then it puts emphasis on the unit itself. And but then that goes into a whole nother conversation. I'll be like, well, these units are designed for food, so why am I going to use food to
For
play content? Now I'm limiting my ceiling. It's like, well, just choose the content that you want to complete right now, and then eventually you'll get to where you want to be. Like it's a casual game. It's a large rather ambitious time frame to achieve for, say, divination units or units like Akuma. But if you put emphasis on the other things that seem trivial,
At
then
what
you
point
then
do
you you enrich the playing experience by using what you have.
because it's up to you whether you want to jump into
Yeah.
this theoretical
Do I
B
wanna-
rank
do I
only, or
wanna-
whether you want to feed.
Yeah, do I want to go into this other route? Like, you can create a whole nother story campaign with restrictions, and you would call it like Path of the Fighter, and then like you're like having to choose which fighters that you have, or you could gain more points on things that you accomplish with the like. I'd rather reward the guy who figured out how to use a B rank, or what team comp, like, or was successful to get a challenge or something. It would just be another storyline. It would just be like, here's the main story, and then here's a side story that you can do. But your side story, you have to use a B rank, or you have to use Hakan. Like, Hakan has to be a focus of the team, and it would just be like Hakan's story, and then you could adjust the levels of that content to be more challenging later on. So you would use what you already have. As a whale, or somebody who has an established roster, you would have units at triple S and stuff like that. But wait a minute, you have to use Hakan. So like, you would put the Hakan in there, and you'd have to either protect him or have him deal a certain amount of damage or something like that, as Hakan's story progresses. And then you'll have one of those for each of the B rank characters, and then you could have one of those for each of the A rank characters, and it would enrich the game so much.
I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong. That kind of sounds like exactly what the like story stages were from like the mainline Street Fighter games, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what they did. Is every character had a story and an ending, and it was up to the player to figure out what character they like to use and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good. But this is something that's going to take a lot of resources to develop, and
Right.
I don't think they're going to take the time to balance it either. Like, if you create that, you still have to balance it, because then people are just going to rocket ship right through it with what they already have.
Right.
The strong get
Maybe-
stronger.
maybe like level caps per each stage as you
Yeah.
go along them or stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be capping the level would be better than increasing the level cap for the B rank units. As much as I'd like the B rank units to shine, I know there's a ton of users who love Ryu and Ken to
They did
death,
my
but
boy dirty. They did my boy dirty.
no, they didn't. They were the same character in Street Fighter 2. They were literally interchangeable.
They did my boy dirty because this is Street Fighter 4, sir. Put some respect.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not big on Ryu and Ken. I'll say that.
I just want to point. Sorry, I just want to point that how are you not gonna use Ryu if he's the only one quick in Thunder?
Oh, for if you were to hypothetically make uh like a restriction.
No, I mean, how are people not using Ryu for Thunder Tower if he's the only who gets speed? Because
Oh, to
of
outspeed?
his 116 speed.
Isn't like E Honda Thunder? I would say I'm not that high on the Thunder Tower, so I'm looking at E Honda's kit
Yeah,
And
or like
in the late game.
106.
Yeah, like well you wouldn't have to outspeed anybody so long as you could outlive their attack and destroy them on the counter.
I see
That's
your
the
point.
theory anyway. Like it would be nice to have a really quick Thunder unit, but it's
At
really up
least
to
once.
yeah.
I was just rocking poison. Poison with fast chant, and it's 113 as well. So that's what I had been doing to get up there.
Interesting. Good information.
Even with teams with Chun-Li and Big Eve, because dude,
So, there's a interesting conversation in the chat right now. 'Cause someone was like, "I don't understand how poison can be used," and from my understanding, the way the person's using it is they're using poison with Chung Li, and I don't know the full team, but my assumption could be like street poison as a additional because that's what the um NCA suggested, which is a really good idea. If you're doing like a lightning wind team, you have E Honda, you have Elena as a just in case, you have Ebel for his shields. There's a lot of interplay within it, but I think the main concept is battery as much as possible, as fast as possible, to constantly keep the silence up so that way, it's basically a permanent interrupt that you're just never gonna get hit with. So that's the concept and idea behind the poison, from my understanding.
Now, wouldn't the how long does it interrupt for in total? It's
Let me check real quick.
now I understand how you are doing your Thunder Tower. Thank you guys.
It's 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Okay.
Silence
Is that enough time to get all the way through the combo chain though?
with hold on, let me see. I'm clarifying just in case, because 3 seconds definitely feels like forever.
That's true.
Fighting spirit. I want to make sure. I want to read everything before. Because I believe her combo 3 is also supposed to be really good. Yeah, it's a lot about electric loop. Which one is electric loop?
Electric loop is the fighting spirit, I believe.
The first thunder whip creates an additional electric loop, dealing thunder damage equal to multiplying. Okay. And what's the 3? Strikes nearest and base thunder. 4 base shot. I guess the question really matters in Chung Li's kit because she supers. Which one is it? If she crits, is it her passive? Build the super gauge by 100 upon scoring a crit with the skill. Trigger intervals of 10 seconds. Additional increased attack by 5. Energy restoration is increased by 125, and then interval reduced by 7 seconds. So you have 3 seconds to crit to get 125 energy, which increases crit super combo with her fighting spirit. Apparently, each crit triggered by whirlwind fills super combo gauge by an additional 30. So that if you get lucky, you're doing 150 on the
And I'm
boost on a crit.
and I'm seeing where the other thing is too. With fighting spirit leveled up, your combo 3 with poison also has a chance to silence.
Oh,
So it's super and combo 3.
there you go. So you would do super combo 2 Chung Li, combo 3 poison, and then end with Chung Li because she has a 3. No, she doesn't.
I think it
No,
would
yeah,
end
her
with
3 is her
poison, right?
ender, right? Yeah, no, the 3 is the ender. I'm bad at. Don't mind me. Right? Am I bugging? Because it's super combo 1, combo 2 ender, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the ender is what gives the additional stun for poison.
Oh, okay. So you don't combo 3 with Chung Li. So you super with poison. We just need a combo 1. That's where I'm mistaken. Just reading up on what people are saying. I guess
Yeah, Elena doesn't sound bad for heals or something like that.
Oh, that's true. Elena, because she is thunder. That is a good option. Let's
Is
see.
it just any thunder or wind unit?
Yeah, I mean, if we're keeping, well, here's the thing. I'm going under the assumption that since we're not quote unquote cheesing with a bison or a beast and geef, we're trying to maximize our full potential in the team with as much buff stats and things in terms of like the best potential of a team, right?
Right.
So,
And free
so
to play casual definitely said it. I think street poison could be a good combo 1 then, because it gives an increase to crit damage.
oh yeah, and then that gives you even more energy with Chung Li.
Oh, you see, I like it.
Yeah. So then there you go. That you double poison Chung Li, and then I guess have a tank in front as a wall like E Honda, because you're
Someone to
already in.
squish.
What happens?
I just said somebody to squish.
Yeah, exactly. You got or you could do Abel. You got E Honda. You got Zangief. Oh, also, guys, don't sleep on like I don't know if he's still here or he dipped out, but Zangief is no joke. Like, please, like, look at his kit. Like, super armor, you can't get pushed back. With his fighting spirit, he gives it to the whole team. The whole team cannot be pushed back. Like, that's super important. He has stun. He gives the whole team flame, thunder, and soul damage reduction with a built-up fighting spirit for the whole team of 25%, I think, or 15%, or what. I'm not sure what it is. I have to. Let me see what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah,
And while
blah.
you're looking it up, Bellion also pointed out it can kill. He can neutralize passives, so you can take care of bisons that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also like insane.
Said you guys not trusting.
Okay. While Zangief is present, all allies receive 25% Flame Thunder Soul damage reduction. This effect expires after the fighter takes fatal damage. That's his regular passive at level 4. So it's 10% less than E Honda's general damage reduction. Because E Honda gives 35%, but he takes the hit, and it goes on to him. It's different for this one. Zangief gives it to everyone, and they take the hit. So anti Bison, really good tank. Like, don't sleep on the man. Put some respect on Zangief's name.
I'm just in theoretical fairy tale land here because I still don't have a unit at 6 cars, but I'm getting close. We're getting there.
I don't have a single car.
On the topic of cars, so like I'm just now.
Did you just come back into the call?
Yeah.
Did you miss my whole entire spiel on Zangief? I don't appreciate it.
I know you're preaching a good word. I
No,
know that.
I was just literally preaching how amazing of a tank he is and everything. You'll hear it in the podcast, because man,
I know you guys are, like, it's already been established. If any Zangief deniers out there, it's a losing conversation. It's just he doesn't do much out of the box.
yeah, but
Like,
you
you
know,
gotta put some stuff into him.
like a bodybuilder or a wrestler, you gotta build it up. Make sure you entertain the crowd and put on
Yeah.
a show.
Nah, he's great. But on the topic of cars, I it's like the hardest thing right now is for me is like car priority. Like what am I to prioritize? Do I prioritize the Dulcim or do I prioritize Fashion Blanca? It's just really tough to know what direction I'm going in. I I'll post a picture in like Team Help and probably talk to those geniuses in there. But as a free to play player, and what I'm trying to achieve is I'm losing focus before chapter 25 because I am I'm getting a lot of materials like the car coins, and I'm buying gear like double S gear. I'm getting shafted on the gear because I don't get any faction gear to drop.
Oh
But
yeah,
they're coming out.
preach on the gear shaft.
I just got my first fashion piece today for Blanca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so taxing. I've done 3 guild drops and none of them dropped with faction. And I'm just like, what am I gonna do with these
So
pieces? And like, what do I do with the cars? Like, am I trying to just get 6? I have more cars for Elena than I do for Dulcim.
but that
Dulcim
so
is my
here's the couple of questions, and then a couple of things to, like, I guess, context on. A couple of questions is, first question is, who's your main DPS?
Dulcim.
Okay. Question 2 is, do you run a secondary DPS like Fashion Blanca? My phone.
Guile. I have a Guile ready too. I got triple S Guile. I don't know if I should be building Guile or should I?
No, I okay.
Kyle is okay.
Here's the thing. So here, I guess, so this is where I need to know what type of player you are. Are you playing?
Yeah.
Because I don't care what other people say. Like, my team, like I said, I use Fashion Blanca as my secondary. I like, and since Bison's a DPS tank, quote unquote, I like, that's basically a triple DPS team, and I use Elena as my healer. I technically don't run a real tank.
I should. My team is a lot more flexible if Fashion Blanca is just supporting Dulcim as an assist. But I'll have B Sangeef in the middle, like for more, like just a general purpose team.
Okay, so you run Beast Zangief with your Dawson. So you're
Yeah,
so who's your front line?
Bison.
Bison, and who's your fourth?
Elena at 10.
Elena. Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. So you're, even though you're getting Elena cards and you're not getting the focus of Dawson, that's literally the name of the game for gacha. My thing would be that even every card you get for whatever unit that's on your wish list is always a good thing, because you're gonna use them eventually. So the question would be, more is who you should put on your wish list is who do you want to use.
Yeah, I I don't think I have a priority on selection. I'm I've never put emphasis on efficiency. Like I have my units and I have gear that I need to get. I have cars that I need to get, but I'm not min maxing one unit. I just so happen to get things. I think that I think I need to learn how to be I need to accept that fact more than trying to be more efficient. I have a lot of pieces I'm working with now, so I'm starting to look at crusades mostly. I
Mhm.
think my crusade skill is really low because I don't have a general knowledge of team comps, like team composition. I'm just throwing out my strongest dudes and what helps me in story chapter or what helps me in Shadowloo City just to complete these things. But I don't look at the Crusades like, okay, I need to do 3 poison for the buff and I need to do Guile for the saber for the first activation. Like some of the stuff that Pika talks about. I need to start doing, but I'm not geared up for the to accomplish certain things that Pika is talking about he's talking about mechanics. So I guess the real question is, do I just continue amassing things even though I'm not really accomplishing the efficiency part? I'm just trying to get all of the pieces in general. I'm just collecting pieces to strengthen my core instead of reaching out and grabbing pieces that I'm not necessarily ready for yet. But I don't. I guess that really comes down to is that efficient or not?
So that's the beauty of this game is that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So
Yeah.
you know, like the way I like to think about it, because you use the term pieces is perfect, is because you're literally getting pieces to fill the overall puzzle, which is your total account. Which means
Mm-hmm.
you have to, if you do want to enjoy the game to this fullest, you know, you play Crusade, you play Guild, Path of Blood, Guild Shadow, whatever, blah blah blah.
Because I'm hitting like 17 million on my million just in general. Like when it comes to the guild, the crusade, or the guild, or 9 million. What I you can we're actually in a guild together. Shout out to Sir Turtle for the accepting me into Sir.
Yeah, no,
But
I welcome all.
I just want to get to that next level. In my head, I'm thinking that I'm not using my pieces properly. I think that's another conversation for a different day, like a one-on-one kind of thing
No, that's
with the
actually
guild or
perfect for this type of situation, and that's what the whole point of these podcasts is, because like I'm going to be honest, I dealt and dealt with the same issues that you have, even at where I'm at, because like I said, I was telling Colin earlier, when he mentioned about feeding A units to other units and stuff like that, and he was like that he doesn't do it very often, if at all. I am very guilty with it. I do it, and the thing is, I feel the impact of it. I myself, I do feel the impact, because I'm like, man, these units like I'm looking at are red. They should be a nice shiny diamond, and they're not,
yeah,
and that's because I made choices and stuff like that. So I definitely understand what you're talking about, and playing as a free to play as a secondary and just literally focusing, like I literally just copied ticks and coded my, I was just like, they're using this exact team, it's working, that's all I'm gonna do, nothing else matters, no other units exist, and that's how I've been doing it. And I'm telling you, it's scary how close my free to play account is to my main, and I feel like
yeah.
my main is just like, man, I suck.
Well, like to to put it respectfully, because I feel like when we talk about players who pay money to skip the line, so to speak, your free to play account is catching up to your main account because you've hit a certain level with your main, right? Is that what's happening?
Yep, pretty much. Well, also here's the other thing. I guess that I need to put a context in. I am a dirty auto player. I played.
Oh,
I
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah, I
Oh,
know.
no.
Okay, look, listen. Yeah, but here's the thing. I preach the way of manual. I say, do as I say, not as I do. I tell that to my kids all the time.
You're
Don't
that
do
like
what I
cool.
do.
You're that cool uncle that everybody has. That's like, don't be like them. Don't smoke the lettuce.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
dude, and
much.
he drives a Trans Am, but the oil's leaking.
Like I
No.
do. There are times where like I hit a wall and I'm just like, okay, I've been on this for like maybe a day longer than I really expect to. So then I'll go to manual and then I combo things out. Cause like for me, the team that I have, Dalsum, F Blanca, Bison, and Elena, and I interchange with Abel and Fei Long and E Honda. So I have shields, I have damage reduction, and I have damage buffs for fire and burn. So it depends on who and what I'm facing. My combo interchanges from I open with Dawson, I nuke the backline with Fashion Blanca, I do Elena because she has damage reduction and she gives energy on the bar, and then I end with Dawson. That's the one thing I always do. I always end with Dawson. There's never a combo that I don't end with Dawson. I will die on this hill, end with Dawson. If you're playing Dawson, end with Dawson. You should not be not ending with Dawson. Sorry with that rant, but that's just a Dawson PSA.
No, it's good. I wanted to touch on another thing you actually brought up. You said it was scary how close your free to play account was getting to your non free to play account. But I think that like that's kind of the nature of how things will work, because as we get closer and closer to that chapter 40 and 41, like progression will naturally slow down. So like
Yeah.
you'll race up to here, but then it'll slow, so you'll be racing on your other account and it'll start slowing, but it
Yeah.
will get closer and closer to each other, because I think that's just the way it naturally goes.
Yeah. Oh, and also I also think teams definitely play a different big factor. Guile and Beast and Geef, hands down, are the best duo in this game. Like
I agree.
like it's like I know Sea Viper exists. I'm not saying that like Sea
It's
Viper,
okay.
but man, this guy Beast and Geef and Guile, the just the comp, like especially if you could have a Beast and Geef, as long as your Guile is built up, he nukes
But you still
everyone.
have to protect the, like, if your BCNG is A rank and your opponent has a Bison, and Bison like bombs in the beginning of the match, like that's gonna be really
Well,
taxing
yeah,
on that.
yeah. That's why you keep Beast
Yeah.
and Geef in the backline if you have him only A. But
Yeah.
that's just I was just
Oh yeah, you keep them at tag. That's right. You keep
yeah,
them
man.
at tag.
Yeah, if
That's
you
right.
only
I
got it,
forgot.
that's
That's
how
the
I
thing.
did it. Look, I was so unlucky. I didn't get and for my other account, I didn't get Beast and Geef for a hot minute. So
I always forget the tag position.
yeah,
You only
man.
need Beast and Gift to be 221 because of his plus speed. Till that, or where you hit that, you just need him in tag team to hit the 2 combo. I'm
If
sorry,
he's
my English is not the best. I'm from Spain.
no, you're good.
No, that's
If
awesome.
he's in the tag slot, does he like does his speed actually count though?
No. So
No,
you're
no.
sacrifice. So you're putting him in tag for survivability. That's literally it.
Yeah.
But that like this it's such a situational thing. We're talking if you have him only A or whatever, you're
Right.
you're still gonna be busted with him. Just put him in tag. That's it.
Because that's one of the things that I've needed to do. I ended up having to beat some stages by moving him from tag into the main slot, because once he's past 221, like
Yeah,
he's
the
always
speed.
gonna go
He's
first.
just so
The
good.
speed thing.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
absolutely. He's just so good. Just the overall his kit, his speed, his stun. Apparently he has bleed somewhere in his stuff somehow. I
In
was
her
just like,
one.
where?
In his one.
His one.
You've clearly never used anything besides his cyclone, have you?
Listen, for like I said, I
What do you expect
refused.
from an auto player.
I
Yep.
refused to use him on my main account, and I only use him for the spin on the other account. Guile is all I care for.
Yeah, his combo 1 is what does some bleed. So
Oh,
got my
okay.
eye on him a little bit. If and when I ever have a Vega that's somewhat viable.
Yeah.
Vega,
Oh
my
man,
man.
look. So the problem with Vega is Bison exists. That's it. Like, yeah, you could
I
have an
understand.
awesome Vega team. He could be Triple S. That's amazing. He could have all the gear at tier 2 and everything. But if there's a Bison, he's gonna be like, "What up, homie? What you gonna do with that
But,
bleed?"
but Vega plays with Bison.
What? No, with Bison. Yeah, no, you pair him with Bison. But like again, you would you rather have Vega or I don't know Viper?
For
News-
PvP or PvE, I think it's different. For PvE, I think Viper.
Uh, so even for PvP, like if you're facing like if because you have to take into consideration, I would like to assume 50% minimum is Bison teams in PvP.
Yeah, 50 no, 90.
Yeah, I'm being generous. I didn't want to just but yeah, you know it's a really high number. You're most likely gonna face a Bison team.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna face a Bison team.
so
yeah.
realistically, with that thought that you're gonna face a Bison team, is Vega worth
Yeah. Nah.
that?
Maybe not at
Boss.
the time. Maybe not from his start. Some people on the general Spain from this Discord are saying he maybe be good with 6 cars and his spirit 30, but that's a lot of investment.
Mhm.
He's good for bosses, but even then, if you're gonna compare bosses, you have Trendy Cammy, you have
Right.
Akuma.
That take less investment.
I feel like this is one of those units, and I can't say for sure because I don't have him even A tier, not only like not SSS. But I feel like he's one of those units that they're like, yeah, we can ship him a little bit lower power level because he looks cool and he's a very cool character. And that's some of the things that like I feel like they do sometimes with fighting games just to buffer in between because like we've said there's this announcement for a character coming on an announcement on May 3rd for a character coming and
Yeah,
they
I
might just
mean,
be like buffering up until that event maybe.
yeah, if it follows how everything's going with the event and the ending of Akuma and stuff like that, we should expect some type of some character being something.
Well,
Just
they always
having
have an
nothing wouldn't.
opportunity.
What happened?
Yeah, they always have an opportunity for a character and a kit to really flourish after the fact. So like I haven't taken the time to read Vega's kit because I'll probably never own one. But at the same time, like I borrowed a Vega during Shadowloo City, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I get to try him out." And then, I just stuck him out there to see what he was gonna do before I read anything. He like died immediately, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that was a fun experiment."
It's
Not
not
really.
it's not like Akuma. He's not an hyper
Yeah,
character to use.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird. I'll
So-
probably read
He's the
his
master of
kit
breed.
later on.
So you're saying that like there could be a delayed viability where like maybe in 2 or
Exactly.
3 months they'll release a character who really makes Vega shine.
Yeah, or some. It's still yet to be determined. Also,
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
about a
of
character
course.
that's 3 or 4 days old. There's probably
Right.
some kind of composition or thing that's being overlooked, or there's something that allows it to flourish, but nobody's figured it out yet, or it hasn't been out yet. It's just Vegas here the way that he is, and that's what we have so far.
I think when we start to get challenges, when the enemy heals a lot, is sorry for the slurps, is when is when we're gonna enjoy the bleeding used for cut healings, Adon, Vega, and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See,
Maybe
that's
will
the
be the day
thing.
for Adon, my man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's too like we're only making surface judgments on Vega because realistically, I'm pretty sure no one here has Vega built up and has a team specifically for Vega because he is a unit that is core. He is a core unit that you're
Brand
gonna
new.
build around.
Yeah.
You're gonna build
the
around
brand
him.
new.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
brand new. You're gonna build around him, and if you are gonna build around him, then you're gonna fit a certain niche of bleed, and bleed realistically is very small. You got B Zangief, you got Adon, you got who else?
Akuma. I think Akuma has bleed.
No, he has burn.
Oh no, yeah, he has burn.
Who else has bleed? Dudley deals with bleed. Um, and I think that's it.
Yeah, because the Capri has soul damage.
Like bleed stacks is like there isn't really like they've got to differentiate between bleed and burn too. Like you can't have too many stack type of effects that would counteract a lot of the team diversity too. So like you're gonna introduce a mechanic of like this is bleed. Well, how is it different than burn? I was like, okay, so the bleed will deal damage over time. It'll lower defense and they can't heal. And I was like, okay, so that makes sense for me. Like I'll take that. But like, what would burn do? Just it would just deal more dots.
Yeah,
Like
it's literally
I'm
just
speaking
fire.
hypothetically now. Yeah,
That's
just
just,
speaking.
they're thinking in terms of burn. It's just as basic as it is. It's just all right. You're burned and you're gonna stay burnt, and it's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that makes a little bit more sense. I'm thinking more or less for boss. Like I feel like the bosses in the raids and the crusades are really where the team clumps
And
usually shine the most.
but you
Because
also have to take into consideration core, the core unit itself, because like
y-
for
yeah,
example, like how burn may not seem like a lot unless you start stacking it. For example, I'm literally one level away from Dawson being level 30 on his fighting spirit, and that
how
literally
much is it?
changes it. It changes his
How
kit
much is it?
completely. It's 50.
Oh my gosh, I
So
barely have 20.
I have 31 now. I'm 19
Mistakes were
away from
made.
it. I am so close. And his 30 combo, this is what I said. The teams like the unit, the core unit it matters because his combo it says combo 3 has the 100% base chance to inflict one burn on all enemies. It hits 6 times. And
Okay.
and then for the next 15 seconds, enemies have a 15% base chance to receive an additional stack of burn when they are afflicted with burn again.
We tried this though. We tried the burn tactic. Remember, it was me, you,
But they didn't do it right. That's why
and Ice Cube.
I
No,
was
was it
so
Ice
upset.
Cube the
That's
way?
why I said no, do it again because they didn't listen to me. They didn't put the proper combo. They didn't do the proper rotation setup. They didn't do anything right. And also he didn't. He doesn't have Dawson 30. That
Oh, okay, okay,
that
okay. It matters. It matters.
matters
It
because
matters.
like
Okay.
here's the way the rotation works is if you want maximum stacks of burn, like 100% maximum stacks of burn, you open with Fashion Blanca. You if with my team, I do Elena seat on to just heal and have the dots over time for myself. Then you do Fashion Blanca's combo 2, and then you end with Dawson. You're talking minimum 8 stacks of burn. And that's on the off chance of not being 100%. Once you add the 100%, you're talking minimum 10 because Dawson immediately gives you 6 stacks of burn.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what was who boosts burn damage? Is it Fei Long?
Yeah, Fei Long's assist with stack the burn, and then I'm doing, if I can afford her, a Flame Chung Li is basically a glorified Fei Long. So you would stick Fei Long on your front line, someone who wouldn't die. For me, I have him on Bison to make sure I keep my burn damage, and then you put Flame Chung Li on Fashion Blanca, so that way you make sure you're spreading maximum burn penetration and you're spreading maximum burn.
Okay. I so on the topic of Flame Chun Li, what are we supposed to be doing with? So I've been free to play this whole time, but I'm looking at the Flame Chun Li discount and I'm looking at the Flame Chun Li tickets, If I get it to $24.99 USD, I
$29.99.
might. Yeah, well, it's like $24.99 on
No.
my screen.
Oh, really? You're lucky. How you
Yeah,
get the extra $5 off? Mine is
I don't
$29.99.
know. I have.
Man's got
I'll
that
screenshot it.
special discount.
I'll
Special
screenshot it.
discount. What is
I'll
this?
screenshot it. It says $24.99 at the end of that meter. How do I? How do I get more of those tickets?
You do your
It says to
weeklies.
assist players.
No,
It says
so
that you can assist players. Can I?
Yeah,
Assist?
if you have if you have friends who aren't going to use their tickets, you can ask them for those tickets, and then you can like get them to send them to you. Is
no,
how
no. So
Oh,
that's
I
not how
would've
it. That's not how
rather
it works.
sent it to you
Wait. So the way it works is you
Is it?
if you assist someone, it literally does nothing for your account. What you have to do is you need to ask people on your friends list to assist you. So my
Yes.
suggestion to you, if you the way I did it, you sir, literally ping people, just be like, yo, add me as a friend, and then I'm gonna send it out, and they give you the boxes. So like right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
So they
6,
just count the people
7.
you invite.
I have 8 people that has helped me total. So that means that's 8 boxes ticked off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's only 12 boxes. So you have 8 friends tick you off, and you could even get all 12 boxes. There are 12 people to tick you off. So and
Huh.
you get 3 tickets. Wait, 3 or 4 tickets weekly from doing the daily
You get
quest, the
4.
weekly quest.
And she's sticking around for how long? For 2 weeks?
No, she's sticking
It
around
looks for a while. It says 57 days.
57 days and 7 hours right now.
So
yeah.
everybody should theoretically be able to get to
Get to the discount,
Yeah.
yeah.
to the maximum discount.
So
Man, they did a really good job at making me want to spend money.
so use our server, homie. You're a part of a large guild for a reason. Use it.
Yeah, I'm at the. You just message me when you need me to do something. That's all.
No, I do think in terms of like what is acceptable levels of what people would spend, this is a much better attempt than even like Fashion Sakura or heaven forbid
Yeah, it was.
Gormagala Ken.
Yeah, I feel like. I mean, if we're looking at the lesser of the 3, it's like, yeah. So Fashion or the Flame Chun-Li is a step in the right direction, but it's not quite there yet. Like, I don't know. I'm not the target consumer here, and they've almost got me. They've almost got me with the unit. Like, I haven't been inclined to get it, but I've always been on the idea that everybody should have access to everything. Just depends on how much time you get and how lucky you are. So to put Fashion Sakura and Flame Chun-Li over that wall is a little concerning, but that's just my personal ideals. I think I'm asking a lot for a game that I downloaded for free and have literal hours of free playtime and stuff. So I'm getting everything I've ever wanted, but I just won't have Flame Chun-Li or Fashion Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Like, it would be nice, but it's a step in the right direction for their market structure. But it's just
That's
I'm not their target consumer. That's all.
so Top A said that she's a DPS. Technically, she's not. She's like a DPS support, I would say, less of like an actual DPS term. Cause like yeah, she has the fighter class attack or whatever and stuff, but like realistically, the way her kit is designed, one, she does not do enough damage in her own right, but the amount of spread of flame penetration and fire kit in the fire crit, I should say, it makes her more of a support than DPS.
I was gonna say, I feel like it would be hard to find out what to cut for her on mainline. Was my question when you guys were talking about like Dalsim and Fashion Blanc and stuff like that. Is would you slot somebody out for Fashion Chun on mainline?
No, absolutely not. Like that's the thing. That's why it's hard for me to justify 100% purchasing her, and that's why I technically call her a glorified Fei Long, is because she's like for like realistically, the way my vision of the fire team is, she doesn't fit any form of like in the combo. Like the only way I could fit her in would be her combo one, and for me, her combo one doesn't. It all it does is flame damage, and it says every stack of one flame penetration inflicted on the enemy during the same match, damage of the skill increases. So it's only singular to this skill. It doesn't benefit my team, and I'm definitely not gonna open with her super, and her two is already taken over by Fashion Blanca. So I don't see it fitting, and that's where I just go look at her assist. Takes effect when the fighter is in assist position. Assist fighter has a 100% chance of also inflicting one flame penetration if they crit while dealing flame damage to the enemy. So that's disgusting on Dalsum and Fashion Block. And that's the most I can realistically justify.
So
her.
she's just relegated to an assist position. Like her kit
For
does
me,
not,
for me, yes.
Yeah. Like her kit does not allow her to outshine Dalton and Fashion Blanca as flame damage or burn damage enablers, but she as a flame, she just supports the flame archetype.
Yeah, because
She is for fire teams.
Because we have to compare with the existing unit. Fashion Blanca, for example, as a one-on-one unit, Fashion Blanca also busts the team with his wildfire. As you build him up and you get his fighting spirit and all that stuff, whenever enemy deals burn, he has a chance to give that teammate wildfire. Wildfire increases attack and defense. So he's buffing the team, and he's already damaging. His damage is insane. And he's a quote unquote tank balanced character, so he fits a lot of roles. He just the FYI, he dies. He's paper thin, so just don't use him as that. But just saying, like his wildfire does like its percentage, it's chance based by like 30 or 40% or whatever. So it's a hit or miss. But still, like there's been times where I do see the little ball around my Dawson, and I'm just like, oh, so now I'm doing more damage. Thank you. So just compared to Chung Li, buff for buff, he feels more impactful, and then damage for damage, he dumpsters her every day of the week. And then just Dawson, for me, I'm biased. Dawson is the core of Fire Team. Like I know everyone's like Viper exists and stuff like that, but Viper is a burst damage dealer. She is not a burn user. Like I guess I should exchange my title. I am a burn expert. I like burn. I want to kill my team, my enemy team slowly. I want to watch them suffer and I see the dots go off while my little combo bars goes off. That's my enjoyment.
No, I definitely love big damage number go burr. That's how my brain functions. So that's why I'm still like what Mad Ryu does.
I mean,
even if he's not practical.
Yeah, look, listen. I can't hate on him because he's still dope. Like I use him whenever he's my main damage dealer in Thunder. I'm pretty sure he's the same for everybody. And
right.
when he starts machine gunning, it's just
it's so satisfying watching them all domino over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes, look, listen, I do like I'm a pyro head. Yeah, that let me light a match on this and just stare at the fire. The game has detonating burn stacks.
My only regret in life is plus 25 fighting spirit on Mad Ryu.
Oh, that hurts.
My Gore Magala Ken would already be 30 by now, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no,
this is so sad.
I'm lucky to like be, I guess, slow in that aspect. I cared more for Dawson than Mad Ryu anyway. So all my gems went to Dawson. I never bothered with Mario, so when I found out that his thing was like meh, I was like, yes, he's still zero
like
for me.
+5 only.
Yeah, no, I'm at +5 only because of his assist.
It's a good assist.
That's the only reason. I was like, if you're gonna, I have him triple S too, and it's not like because I chased him. And the game literally just gave me a whole bunch of mad views. So it's like, all right, he's now connected to my Fascia Blanca. I never use him, but if I have to, I'll put him as an assist.
Free to play casual said I can still use Mad Ryu with Bison Jury Elena. I would need a good jury for that to actually work, but I appreciate the effort. No, they want us to use that character, at least for something, and he is thoroughly attached to my Fashion Blanca right now, so.
I mean, once Evil Ryu comes out, that everyone
I
will
prefer
forget.
Mad Ryu, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Because it's just so funny. It's like, yeah, we know there's evil Ryu, but this guy's just mad.
Yeah, I still don't know. I'm curious as to like what the thought process is. They're like, "Hey guys, let's make a review for this game only." So how
He's
can we
been
do it?
in other things as well, though, I believe, not
Is
just
he?
in.
Is
I
is
think so,
Mario
yeah.
in other games? I thought this was the only
Or
game.
at least in the comics.
Oh, I don't know.
Let me do a deep dive.
Yeah, I actually don't know because I know Evil Ryu and Violent Ken, which is technically not canon because it's from a different fighting game that's not Capcom. I think it was. Kage, Street Fighter Five. Then there's Oni, but then Oni's different. Oni is Akuma, and then there's like, isn't there like multiple versions of Akuma? There's Cyber Akuma, then there's Oni, and then there's regular
Cyber.
Akuma.
I don't remember Cyber Akuma, but I remember only it's like if Akuma falls completely on the demon side.
Yeah, no, Cyber Akuma. He was a secret boss in the arcade. You have to do like a certain code, when selecting your character, and by like moving the joystick a certain way,
That's awesome.
and then you will unlock the ability to get Cyber Akuma, and then you will have to beat the game, and then once you beat the game, it will be like a new challenger has appeared, and then Cyber Akuma appears and he whoops your butt.
For sure.
It was pretty cool. So there's actually a lot of people making different suggestions of teams.
Just wanna say, if you let me, to what was the Zirzan gift, he was asking for what he can make to improve his damage on the crusade bosses and everything. I think his ears are off. Yes. Great.
Yeah, well, if anything, wait, but there's one thing.
Just want to say, because it's gonna be on the record. There are characters like he's using, like Dalsim, who has his plus 20 and plus 30 weapons have really utility uses. But there are characters like Guile or Viper who has or plus 20 or plus 30 uses for purely mm, critical damage or burst damage. So maybe the thing he was asking to look if Guile is okay, or Viper, yes. Guile, Viper, that type of characters is what you're gonna use as main core to bust the damage on that type of event.
Hmm.
And that's things like if you have it even in A or A plus, Gor Magala Ken for his passive. If you had Street Poison for his one combo to multiply that crit damage, things like that. You have to start to think what you can build to explode that damage.
Yeah, you have
Skyrocket.
to specialize. It's super
Yeah.
important to start specializing because, like, that's why I host two different tier lists. There's one just normal tier list as the overall general, like these units are just good, and then there's the boss tier list, like, where Cammy may be lower on the regular tier list as just a general good, but because of bosses and her destroying single targets
Yeah.
with armor break,
Yes.
she accelerates higher than most people would consider.
Yep.
So
Bellion, I think he's undeafened now, so he can hear, by the way.
yeah, Mr. Geef, we're talking about teams and how to push for damage in like boss.
I'm at work, gentlemen. I'm so sorry.
No, you're
Don't
good.
worry.
No,
Don't
you're
worry.
good. You're good.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'll just listen. It's recorded, so
Yep.
Yeah,
I can
it's
go back
recorded.
and listen. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we were just mentioning like how some units where in general they may not be considered good, uh, but in boss terms they're the best units in the game compared to others that would be like for example, Beast and Give probably unanimously one of the best units in the game alongside Bison, but Beast and Give sucks for bosses. Like don't use him. He's literally pointless for bosses.
For now, for a short answer for you, Zirangif, if you have a Guile or Viper, invest in it, you're gonna skyrocket your damage. Trust me.
In terms of like team comps and stuff, I'm very simple, and this probably won't work for all stages, but I'm just thinking like everyone could have a Bison, and like that's gonna be one of them, obviously. But I think just splitting up like your interrupt, your survivability, and your charm with street poison, like, and just picking a main DPS for all three teams once we get around to it, and like I feel like that could probably just take you a lot further than it gives credit for. Like, you've got your Fashion Blanca as DPS for one team, you've got your Viper as backline slave for another team, you've got your Guile, I guess, as the third one, and just like that, you just pick good utility and good damage for every team, and I think that will be fine enough for some stages.
Yeah, so the top the conversation of two DPS, one DPS versus three DPS, because a lot of people they're like, oh, if you have three DPS, you have squishy units, and like all it takes is for one combo to get through. So
Mm.
like if it's behind the wall of a beef, three DPS is perfect. Like you're just gonna destroy everyone and not
Right.
have to worry about getting touched at all.
To point something, if squishy units are bad, why is Yun and Yang always winning in PvP?
That's also true. Like I've been uh the receiving end of one of those, and I did not like it very much. I was like, wait, no, why? I have Bison on all this thing. No, stop doing what you're doing. And then I was just deleted. And I was like, okay, well, he had money and I didn't. That's what I chalked it up to. I blamed the
How it's gonna
whale.
go sometimes, though. I feel like if you don't spend a lot on the game, it's one of those expectations that you're gonna run into somebody who walls you.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that's the thing though. Like, there's gonna, I'm pretty sure. Like, if you're yinning yanning or whatever, you're not spending money. He just straight dumpstered me. That was it. I was just like, man, I
Man, heard
felt some
that.
type of way afterwards. I was like, you know
You heard
what?
that
I
one
kind of
off comment,
makes me want to build them, but I don't even have them, so screw them.
right? He heard that one off comment from the Pika interview, and it's like Yun Yang bet. Let's go.
Right?
Yes, at the start of the game, when I was fighting PvP, seeing people with Yun and Yang teams, I was like, "Oh man, they give me Madrid, Bison. These people only get Yun and Yang." Like a month from the game, I was like, "Fuck, sorry for the loop, Yun and Yang again, no." And I have Bison SS Plus, but I think it's their combos are so synced. Even if
Mhm.
you play an auto, they're gonna hit always.
Right.
Yeah. It's just
Yun and Yang carried me into 1540. Like there was straight. When you have the two of them out, it's really hard to get the same amount of meter build and the same amount of hit count, because if you have abilities that proc off of hits, off of normal attacks and triggers, not necessarily, because they both proc off of each other. They're passive and they build meter off of each other, which is insane. The meter building is insane when you have the two of them out.
and they do damage. Like, don't
Like
get it twisted. They do
you,
damage also.
like Yoon, Yang does the AOE when he jumps across the screen.
Yeah,
So like
screw that guy.
he's he's already accomplishing something that some of the characters don't do, which is moving around on to the back line of the battlefield. So in the right timing, he could get out of the way of something that you're afraid of. There's some potential there, but there's just it's a lot of investment into two wind characters when you have characters like Guile, Chun Li, Cammy that do other things on their own. So like the thing about Yin and Yang is be to use their truths to use their whole kit, you got to use both of them. Like because their passive only works when they're both out there. Yeah, so
And they
it's like
can't
if you
go
don't
against AOE because AOE deletes both of them just straight out, right?
exactly. Yeah, so like I said, it carried me out of 1540. Like as a new when I was a fresh baby boy in this game, I had Yun and Yang, and I remembered how good they were in Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 4, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do Yun and Yang because I don't see anybody else building it, and I had great success with it, but it really fell off after because of the other units that I got, like B Sengi for Guile or Tammy, or I got a ton of Dolphins early on. So like my team for the longest time was B Sengi Fit Tag, Dulcim, Yun and Yang. That was my team. And then like I just had really weird assists and I would throw M Ryu in there once in a while. This is, week
I
one of the
mean,
game.
that's the potential. You have potential there. And free to
Yeah,
play,
it's just a really weird thing.
free to play casual was the one that brought up the AOE comment. But the thing is, it's like I
Hello,
like
y'all good?
what you were saying about with the. I'm sorry,
Oh,
what
sorry.
happened?
He's just somebody
Hello.
that said hello. Hello, hello.
No, I'm new on this on the voice chat, so I just want to say hello, and if I could be hearing you, and if I can be here just listening, that's fine. But I'm recently playing the game, so I had I had an account, but I'm back, so I have a few questions. But if you want to share the go on, so I will ask later.
No, we're at
You're
a good
welcome.
place to change topic, and if you have
Oh,
some
okay.
questions,
Yeah,
I feel like we're in a good place for that.
okay, no, that's about. I was thinking if majority mainly. Oh, sorry, my English is a little bit bad, but I'm mostly free to play. But I'm asking myself if Flame Chunli it is worthy because I heard about her, and I don't know if it's a good improvement, but maybe she can have a good potential in late game, or I don't know what you guys can say about her.
In
Well,
terms,
as a new player, sorry, I don't mean to,
no,
you.
go
I'll
ahead.
let you in a minute because I'm free to play as a new player. Your main goal right now is to just try and complete what's in front of you. Um,
Okay.
if you're talking about is Chun Li worth $1, I would say she's or I don't know what scale she is in your currency, but
Yeah, me too.
for global and like for US, it's $1 USD. Like so,
This
Yeah.
was for Flame Chun-Li, right?
No,
Yeah.
regular
oh,
Chun Li.
regular
No,
Chun
cause
Li or Flame Chun Li?
oh, okay.
No,
No, a
I'm
flame
asking.
Chun-Li. I'm asking about a
Oh,
flame Chun-Li. Flame Chun-Li.
Oh, Flame Chun Li.
oh,
As a free to play,
I
don't
gotta step.
bother. Definitely don't bother. As
No,
a
but hey, the thing is, I said I'm mostly because I don't spend usually much in the game, but I'm now I had an account in the beginning of the games, the game beginning. I started when the game went out,
Mhm.
and I'm on chapter 22, but the thing is getting harder because I had made Ryu fully upgraded, but now I think Sea Viper has more potential, so I'm using Sea Viper as a late game. So I think she has more potential, but I'm starting to struggling, and I don't know what
okay.
Okay. Okay.
you understand?
So
Okay. You
for
have a
general
Blanca.
consensus, just one thing. General consensus is Mad Ryu falls off a cliff very hard at roughly
Okay,
around where you
okay,
are at. So
Right.
you are meeting the wall that a lot of people hit with Mad Ryu. So that's definitely perfectly
yeah,
fine where you're at.
okay.
One thing that I think everyone can agree on is AOE is king. And
Who? What?
No, no. He's
Area of
saying
effect attacks, like
AOE, yeah,
area of damage. Yeah.
Yeah,
area damage
AOE.
attack.
Yes, yes,
So the
yes.
more people you hit, the better. You people like
Yeah,
Chung Li, Poison, Guile, Sea Viper, Dawson. These are
yeah.
all units that like people
Yeah.
tend to focus on.
Yes, because I'm almost getting now. Maybe 4 days after, I'm getting Fashion Blanca as a free to play. But
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah. So I will link Fashion Blanca with
Save the
Medley
money, my
because
man. Save the
what?
money and save the
Yeah.
money. If you're gonna get Fashion Blanca, save the money for that Chun-Li for other things you can spend if you want to start.
I can hear you, bro. You're a little bit far from the mic.
Oh, okay. Hear me better now?
Yeah, now I can. Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can.
If you're gonna get Fashion Blanca in 2, 3, 4 days, save the money for that Chun-Li for other things because the improve is gonna you're gonna get with that Fashion Blanca is more valuable
Okay.
than that Chun-Li for
Hands
sure.
down. Hands down.
Okay.
If
Okay.
if
I think that
anything, Fire Chung Li is a towel that you wrap around Fashion Blanca. So
Yes. Yeah. And I agree, man. You know, because
And as
uh,
you free to player, you're gonna spend some time building Fashion Blanca. So
yeah,
getting
yeah,
another
sure.
legendary that I think shares equipment with Fashion Blanca is
Yeah.
not that much.
It shares equipment.
I thought
I
it
think
was
yes
the
because they are no his
yeah
tech not
technical
agility, yeah.
versus agility, I believe.
yeah.
But
Okay, because I think Blanca links with the current rank of Med Ryu. My Med Ryu is
yep,
almost
Yeah,
5 stars, so it's good.
Yeah.
he
I
didn't
That would be
waste. He
really
didn't
nice.
waste. He didn't waste all of the thunder materials into your Mad Ryu. The
Yeah,
hurdle that you're gonna have to jump through
we all
is
did it.
the gear.
Don't blame anyone. We all did it.
Yeah, we all did it. I'm still doing it.
yeah.
Hmm.
yeah. Because
Oh,
the thing here is about the Fashion Blanca needs it is only worth if if he has type how you
He's
say faction type equipment, right?
no,
well, actually, no.
No.
He's really good out of
he's
the
good.
box.
Yeah.
So
Right.
long as you have a triple S character to
And speed
get
fight.
Okay.
his level cap open, and then
Yeah.
his fighting soul really does wonders at about 10, which is doable. So
Right.
to answer your
Okay.
question about Flame Chun Li does not offer the same amount of impact that Fashion Blanca does. Flame
For
Chun
sure.
Li only
Okay.
supplements existing teams. So like if you
Right.
Yeah.
have an existing
Yeah.
team that could benefit from her kit, then you could reasonably pick up Chun Li to help that. But
Yeah, man.
if you're
Because
trying to build it,
yeah, because seriously, I talked, I said it about Chun-Li, but I almost forgot that I was getting Fashion Blanca in a few days. So
Mhm.
the thing is, I'm trying to push Med Ryu as further as I can to link with Fashion Blanca, and also Fashion Blanca is AOE damage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
correct. Yeah.
the another thing that I'm struggling is because in harder stages, I'm struggling with the Beast Zangief speed up, because my Beast Zangief it isn't he isn't 220 level 220. He's only 200.
So
Right.
Yeah.
one thing I like to
So
do for that
yeah,
when you have a faster enemy team, just for that battle, give everyone fast chance. It actually
everyone
works.
what?
Everyone, yeah. If you have fast chance, like
No,
you could give 4 people fast chance. Just give the whole team fast chance.
no, but can you speak slowly because I'm not.
Uh,
You should give faction.
fast chant.
Fast chant. You know
Ah,
the
okay, okay. Fast
the
chat.
the,
Fighting soul.
the
Fighting
Vega.
soul,
Fighting.
not
Yeah,
fighting spirit. Fighting
Yeah.
soul.
I know. Fast chat. The which one you get in the beginning, right?
Yeah. If you
Okay, so okay.
if you
Yeah.
increase the level, you could equip it on more people, and
Oh yeah,
eventually you could give all 4 people on the team fast
yeah,
chant, and you raise the speed overall, and it stacks, and that way you may
yeah,
be faster than the enemy team.
yeah. Right. Also,
But
because
you'll
I think
never be
yeah.
much
You
faster
say
at
so.
Bizangief if you don't have a Bizangief.
I can hear you, bro. You're a little bit far away. I don't know.
You'll never be quicker than Bizangief if you don't have a
Yes.
Bizangief.
That's true.
Yeah, man. I have Bizagif, but his it isn't
Yeah.
level 220, so I need to upgrade maybe limit break characters to have four at 220, and maybe after I can reach Bizagif with 220 level.
Mhm.
So I need to have limit break for characters
If you're
at level.
stuck, if you're
What?
hardly if you're hardly stuck, maybe at the end you need to break stone his level and level him up.
Yeah. The thing is, I saw on the internet and the YouTube that thing when you have all the limit break characters put in, you can use can you listen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We hear you.
Okay, so the thing is, I don't know how can you the limit break, you have an option to upgrade all the characters only with experience, you know.
Yeah, but at some levels, I think it's
You
every
need
10
breakthrough,
levels
right?
you need breakdowns.
Okay.
But I can assure you, at that point, breakdowns are gonna get there will be nothing compared to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cash and the experience you will need.
Yeah. Hold on.
You know,
One.
hey, another thing, because, sorry, do you have time? Can I ask some questions
Mhm.
already? Can I
Sure.
ask some questions too, or if we have time?
I mean, we're pushing. I normally like to end the calls to at 2 hours, so yeah, we still got some time. If
Okay,
realistically,
no,
the questions are for caller, and so this is an open floor. So if and everybody's
okay,
willing to
so
open and answer
yeah,
questions.
and I want to say thank you all, because all the community was being very kind to me, and I think we have a great community. And the thing is, because I'm well received always in the game, and the people are very kind, and so I appreciate with that. And I want to thank you all before because of your compassion, and you are very kind, and I want to thank all of the players, and
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we try to
so
build up a community that benefits and helps each
yeah.
other.
And the most important for me when I'm playing a game, it needs to I need to have a great community with that push
Mhm.
me and try to keep me playing, and
Right.
also motivating. It's very important
Um,
to keep pushing the game.
I
Gabo,
wouldn't keep
my
playing the game if it weren't for you guys. Like, if it wasn't for the community, dude, I'd be like, I'd just
Yeah.
uninstall, bro.
Yeah,
One
and you know
Yeah.
what? It's interesting, like in the perspective of being a mod, where I see people come and go because I'm a little bit more attached to the community
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
most people. So
Yeah.
it does suck when I see that some people are like, well, I'm installing, see you later or whatever. But I'd like that the community as a whole still stays together and it still like builds and flows,
Yeah. One
and
hundred
that's one of
percent.
the most
One
awesome
hundred
things.
percent. I agree. Yeah.
Okay,
um
enough with the mushy stuff. What is it? What is your question?
Yeah, let's get back to the
Okay.
game.
Okay. Yeah, bro. So, if you hear some wind or some noises, because I'm with in the street walking with my dog. So, but I'm getting home now.
yeah, no worries.
But the thing I want to say is what I was about to say. So the thing is, I'm mostly as a free to play. People say when you spend, even if you spend a little bit of money, you're no more free to play. But the thing is, in every game I play, I don't spend much. So I was about to say, if the travel, I only spent with the travel packs that
Mhm.
gives a lot of gems, and I think as a late game, and for late game, it is essential to buy the from the Crusade Pass, and the ones that give breakstones.
The
Yep.
breakstones, I recommend you that.
It is very worthy. I know it
Yeah, the
isn't.
breakstones are very, very worth it.
And there's
Yeah,
Um,
ones that apparently
um,
when you get to whale levels, there's gonna be
yeah,
one that's
yeah,
like $20 or something like that, and it's literally
yeah, yeah,
worth like a week's worth of breakstones and stuff.
I
So
don't
it,
think
it
I get
makes you want to buy it.
I don't think I get a
yeah,
single
yeah.
pack that's less than $25 offered to me now, and I'm just like I never want to spend on that. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
No,
value's
$1
kind
ones.
of
yes.
rough on the dollar, like for what you get out of the packages.
But
What
yeah,
I can tell you,
a lot of people say like if you spend 1, 5, 20, like to get the travel packs and stuff like that, it's technically like no longer free to play. It'd be like a minnow.
yeah. So,
Or small
so the
fish.
thing,
You're
it's like that.
just
It's like that. So maybe,
playing
yes.
the
What was that?
No,
you're
I
putting
was,
no. I'm
yes.
well. I to just to add to it, and just to add to that part of the sorry. Just to add to that, $20 a week or $20 a month to get that small boost. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just a small boost to get past the
Yes,
next month.
Right.
that's what I do. But you know, I'm not even at the level of some whales in. I don't know what it called. I dolphin or maybe low spender.
Minnow.
Yeah.
Yeah, me know because what I can what I can afford. Maybe I would say in each month I spend like in overall like 13 euros, like so a little boost with the breakstones and something like I would say maybe 13 euros is enough, is enough.
Like realistically, if you're ever gonna spend money on a game like this, where it's gotcha and you're building
Yeah,
equipment and stuff like that, materials is gonna be the best bang for your buck. So
yeah,
sodas,
because
breakstones, and the dollar bills.
yeah, you know, and mostly the thing is here is mostly when I spend it always thinking in the future events and I only spend if I will need to, because I don't spend only for flex and like things heavy. Hey, okay, I have all the equipment and I bought imagine I never bought and I don't want to buy expensive packs. I only buy the things I will need in late game and maybe after I get it some point. I only need the things I will need in, you know, you understand, like breakstones. I'm
Yeah,
I
breakstones
if I
are
would
okay.
yes,
Yeah, we get. I think we get your point.
yeah,
The
if I
The
the
would
only
spend, I
thing
would
I
spend
would
it
say for
something
long
necessary.
term in terms of accounts when it comes to buying units, I don't know if
Yeah,
someone could confirm or like deny it or whatever, but
yeah, go ahead.
legendary units counts towards your 5 level cap.
yes,
Yeah,
Yes,
for
they do.
sure.
So
yes,
Yes,
they do.
since if that is the case, those that spend the money to get those units will have always have an upper hand of at least 5. How many legendary units are there that can be
Hmm,
bought?
yes,
2.
yes.
something
So
like that.
10
Yeah.
levels will always be the gap from those that buy the fashion units at the moment. That's
Right.
just how you have to think about it like that.
Yes, so okay, so sorry, I will stop talking a little bit because I'm in my doors, I'm in my house, so I have to go up the upstairs and I can talk because it's everybody sleeping. Okay, but give me 1 minute maybe.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, if
Okay.
back to the terms of like the long terms of the games of levels and stuff like that, like that's just one of the I guess the counterpoints or the downfall of pay to win
Yeah,
units is
yeah,
like you are paying not only for the unit but what the benefit of the unit brings. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that, bro.
yeah.
It's give me just 1 second. I'm putting my earphones to listen better.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though is like when you buy characters like Fashion Sakura or Flame Chun Li or let's say Akuma or Monster Hunter Ken,
Yeah.
like you're paying you're paying for content that you're or paying for features you won't normally experience.
Yes.
Oh goodness. And then you have to pay more money to supplement that. It's kind of weird. Like it's
Yeah.
I mean it's not it's like you just have to
Hey,
keep paying to
can,
play
can
it.
I do want to read what Free to Play Casual actually put out because this is actually really interesting. Uh, he says, where's the start? One thing I want to rant is that this game gives too few resources when doing dailies, which causes casuals to lose interest after their first month. Only people in Discord and Reddit are having a decent progression because they know what's in the meta. I personally seen people waste 8,000 gems to do 10 Akuma summons, which is a waste of 4 days of grinding. And casuals also waste resources, a lot like investing in Mad Ryu to triple S plus 5, that they get fed up because he doesn't carry, so they get fed up and quit. So it's really interesting in that is because like yeah, there's a lot of points that I agree on it, and the only part that I don't agree on is the part where they're wasting resources on Mad Ryu. Uh, Read the units. That was one of the big things that Pika kept repeating, but realistically, I not to be saying condescendingly, like take a poop session and read the units, and then you'll understand that like man, okay, maybe not Mad Ryu. That's literally all it takes is like a glance of like realistically. All I did was read Dawson before the game even came out, and like from other regions, I was like, yeah, that's the guy I want to use. That was it.
I think that
Yeah.
if people do leave the game before getting Fashion Blanca, it's probably not because they're wasting resources. Well, it's probably because they were going to leave anyway, is kind of my thought process. Like,
Well,
the way that the
takes
game is, they're going to run into walls.
Yeah.
it takes a certain type of gamer to really take a game like this and be successful with it. We've always had the conversation about what kind of player are you and what you're trying to accomplish in the game.
Yep.
So when you have somebody who has no experience with gachas or no
Right.
experience with this type of gaming in general, the structure that's in place right now really dissuades free to play and puts a little bit more emphasis on spending, which is
Right.
to par for the course.
The
However,
Go ahead.
when you reach the next step in a gamer's comprehension, like I need to join a community, I need to figure out what's on YouTube, and I need to go to Discord or Reddit. That's what separates us from somebody who sees an ad on Facebook and downloads the game without really knowing what they're getting into. So like new gamers will have a harder time playing the game, but existing gamers who are experienced in this type of ecosystem are succeeding more in the game, which is, it makes sense. But I will agree that if you are brand new to this type of game and brand new to the ecosystem in general, it's not very friendly, so to speak. It's
Right.
It
But-
isn't. It
it's hand
isn't.
over fist.
It isn't. It isn't though. That's like
Yeah.
you know what it is. I'll put a caveat to that. It's free to play with the honeymoon phase, and then once the honeymoon phase is over, you realize that you're in a toxic relationship. That's the best way I
Yeah.
can
The
explain it.
definition of all gacha games.
Well, I was talking with another content creator about it, and I'm like, there are 3 things that typically like make people play the game long term, and it's the gameplay, the story, and the music. In my opinion, is like the top 3 things. And Street Fighter Duel doesn't have music really that is not like sticks in your memory. Doesn't have
Time to
much of a story
Fry
at all.
is like a banger of a song, sir.
Dude,
Time to Fry, yes, but
Time to Fry is a thing that
one
I
of
can
one
never
of
stop
6
hearing.
soundtracks.
Yeah, no,
right?
you're hitting the nail on the head though.
Cool.
Like with
It doesn't set the hooks in either. So to expand on the concept of what is a gotcha game really, it's like
Yeah.
they have to set the hook in for you to
Family?
want these units,
Right,
and then they have to make the gameplay fun enough to use the
but
units.
that's
then
where
the
Colin was getting
experience
to the
has to be
third part
easy.
though.
That's what I was saying. Is
Yeah.
that the gameplay is the only thing that I feel Street Fighter Duels, like besides the characters and the IP, that's the
Yeah.
only thing really tying players to the game. Is that it has a
That
really
is a
interesting
very
gameplay
forefront
loop.
thing. Like every time like I'm seeing comments here and there in the server, they're like, "Man, this game is really fun. If only
Mhm.
other things were a little bit better." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I kind of get that. Like, I play mute, so music ain't a thing for me.
Here, here.
I don't care about it, but like I do
Right.
understand. Like there are some people who would like getting pissed off at the music glitch, and I didn't understand it. I was like, I don't understand why
No,
you're
I'm
getting mad at that.
anytime I'm
I do
playing,
sound
I'm
effects,
jamming.
no music.
Right. Anytime I'm playing, I'm jamming to either Genshin or Street Fighter 6 music in the
Yeah,
background.
like I'm
So
watching YouTube or Crunchyroll or other stuff. Like I'm not worried about the music, but I
I
get some
posted
people
a
do.
drum and bass playlist and off topic a while back, but I usually listen to like a completely different. I listen to like a music mix, like when I'm
right.
playing games in general.
Yeah.
Like that's just how I get into the zone.
So I can forgive the game for lack of music. The gameplay itself is amazing. The only thing I legitimately think is if they how they handle the package pricings and their pay to win free to play units. If they was change just those two things, but I guess it's more than two things because it also takes into play of polls, rates, pity, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. But like
Yeah.
change the dynamics of making it a little bit more easier on the free to play. I understand it's a business. I'm not saying you don't gotta make your money. Make your money, boo boo. Like get it,
I
get
think
that
their purse
bread.
is big enough.
Get that
I think
bread.
their purse is big enough now.
Just all.
But that's just
Go ahead.
no. I was gonna say I think their purse is big enough now, and it shows with Flame Chun-Li. So when we were talking about the discount that you can achieve through actions in the game, it's kind of a step in the right
Yeah.
direction. It's showing that they're more flexible
Exactly.
on the ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this experiment for them is to see at which point are players spending money. Are people going to buy her outright for $99?
Absolutely.
Are people going to spend $50? Or are people going to spend $25?
Now here's the next step.
Whatever the last one. I think it's $29.99.
Here's the next
Are
step.
people going to spend 150 or 30?
But
So this is really an experiment for
Yeah.
them.
I
believe.
100% agree. Now here's the next step. Here's the I think what would make it a chef's kiss. All right. For it fits the whale to free to play umbrella. You start off at 100. You want her right off the rip. You pay for 100. Then the bar getting the discounts, keep it the same way. But here's the kicker: instead of $30, now you have, let's say, okay, you need 20 people to give you $30, but now you need 50 people to allow you to unlock her for free.
I won't disagree. I just think the type of
what
data.
are you talking about? Flame Chun-Li?
Yeah,
I'm just
hypothetically.
We're talking about free.
If you were going to make her
Yeah,
free.
pay to win, like how they could handle this, like the Flame Chun-Li, just a little bit different. Because like
Right,
we
so
love the
future-
discount. We love the discount.
future characters is what we're kind of talking
Yeah.
about right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hypothetical. It's an exercise in understanding. Flame Chun-Li is more for data collection and
Yeah.
financial tracking
That's
than
a
it
good way to
is
look at it,
for
yeah.
it's more for data. They're trying to collect data. So like
Yes.
they're incentivizing play to give you a discount, and the information that they're gathering is at what point are players going to spend money on a character, and so there are people who have spent 100 to get her already, and there's going to be players who are going to spend 50 to get her already.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I agree with Turtle with lowering the cost down, but I don't think making her outright free is going to give them accurate data. I think the data that they're looking for is what people are willing to spend
You're
rather
right.
than what people are willing to
Yeah,
do.
no, that you are absolutely right. No, that's definitely if we're thinking about that in the terms of like data gathering and all that stuff like that, I think you hit the nail on the head 100%, because we also have to take into consideration the future collabs. We know that there's a possible collab on the horizon.
Yes.
Like it only makes sense that to strike while it's hot, and we've all like in previous conversations, they've already said like you don't compare other regions in terms of mechanics and one for one on how the game is, but you can look at other regions for what units they have. So we are already aware that Monster Hunter is already happened. The next one most likely, if they keep with what other regions have, is the Devil May Cry. So we can expect Dante to be coming in the future. We don't know when. That's not a thing that we're told. But like in units of like what's available, Flame Chun-Li, Water Chun-Li, we can expect
That's
a Water Chun-Li at some
Water
point.
Chun-Li. It will be Water
We
Yeah.
Chun-Li.
may expect
um,
Pharaoh Sagat. We may expect Mummy Dawson. Like it's not definitive.
Mummy
This is
Dawson
all
is OP. Mummy
speculation,
Dawson
but
has
these are
tons
ideas
AoE.
that can happen.
yeah. The
Mummy
word you're
Dawson
looking
is very
for
OP.
is
What
it's
Sagat
called
you
like,
said?
well, in different games they call it assets. So
Thank you. Yeah,
Pokemon
that
did a
the words
yeah
matter.
yeah
Thank
they're
you.
called assets. Like, so the assets already exist, because and so
Yeah.
they did it in Pokemon twice. So they
Yeah. Pokemon.
reused assets from Pokemon Sun and Moon into
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like all of the three all of the 3D
Up and ow.
models.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of the 3D models that they used in Sun and Moon, they just took it and put it into Sword and Shield,
Yes.
all the way down to the animations. I mean, the polygon count changed a little bit, but for 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 an effort to relay this back to what we're talking about, it's called an asset. So they're gonna reuse assets from the other
Yeah.
game, like how they've been continually
It's
doing.
just
But
when we
Yeah.
don't know.
the
That's where I
the
want to make
way that
sure.
we get
Yeah.
them is going to be
Yeah.
different.
Everything's
Like
different.
the factions are going to be different. The kits are going to be different.
Yeah.
The only things that you can relate to it is what they look
Yeah,
like.
thank you for clarifying that. That's 100% on the nail. I don't want people to be like, oh, this guy he said
Yeah.
he's coming next. No, no, no. I don't know where any of these.
Yeah,
It's just that
they're
we
different games.
know that these units exist. Thank you.
Yeah.
Assets, all that. Chef's kiss. Thank you, Zangy. You nail on the head.
Hey, I aim to please.
I think at this point in this conversation, maybe for the new ones, no, but nobody is surprised. I mean,
I'm not.
I mean, for the thing of false rumors of, oh, they gonna put Chun-Li for free if you get 50. Nobody is surprised. They're not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Yeah, no, it was just like if they were to, because obviously we can see that limits are being tested and stuff like that. If they were to do the most free to play, I thought, if you're trying to build the community and keep players in the game, put if and keeping the discount level thing, which I think the bar is awesome, make it like a higher number, which then would have to force players to like communicate amongst one another and give that free to play player that feeling like, yeah, I earned the character, but while also giving the whales the opportunity to be like, well, I've been owning her for like a month or two before free to plays even get to touch her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way.
Exclusivity matters in a market.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is
So
like
it's like
the balances. It's like you don't want to
yes,
upset that. That's also another thing that.
but the unit itself, like, imagine if, like, let's say for a certain sake, imagine if B Zangief was a pay to win character with his kit and how good he is in the
Oh
game.
man.
So it would stand to reason. Or Bison was a pay to win character. Like, like in the first 2 weeks, if you didn't have Bison, you weren't anybody. That was such a good model to suggest spending money. Like, here's a unit that does something unique. You can buy them now, or you can wait till later, till 1540 for divination. When you can div, that structure is important. So, like, now, how do you backtrack? How do you introduce a new character and a new kit, and how do you sell that to existing players without making them feel like they couldn't achieve it, like how Bison was achievable? Because I have a double S Bison, and I was like, I never look back. It's like, man, I should have bought this guy a long time ago. But I digress.
Bison
How would
trap.
you introduce that? Yeah, how would you introduce a unique unit that does something overpowered, but also, like, League of Legends does it very well. They introduce a new character. The new character is usually cracked, and League of Legends has a free character rotating structure where you have to spend the premium currency to obtain the character on release, or you can wait until it's on the free release, or you can accumulate tokens through playing the game to purchase the character at a later time. So the thing that stops free to play players on League of Legends is time. That's all it stops them. But they can still have an opportunity to try it when that character comes on the free rotation. So you could reasonably do that in Street Fighter duels,
I
but
think the problem is
you don't have
currency.
to.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me jump in here.
No,
All right.
Dino. Sorry, did we
Oh,
break
we are
rules?
Back to
hold on.
detention.
Yeah.
Magana,
Hold
no,
on.
no,
Are
no,
we
no.
in trouble? I'm sorry.
No, he's not. No, I just want like one thing. I just want to set this clear. That's a really good example, but it's also a bad example because if you think about it, who owns League of Legends?
League of Legends owns League of Legends.
Who
Okay.
develops League of Legends?
Riot.
League of Legends.
Right. No, I mean, it's one company.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because that one company owns the IP, they own the development, they own every process of that, that's an easier way for them to make money no matter what they're doing. So as much as it's easy to say, hey, we need more free to play options, eventually, as I'm gonna tell you guys here, there will be more characters that will be added to the regular pool in divination. But that's gonna be over time, right? There's going to be exclusive characters that help keep the lights going for the game. So like
Mm.
you have to keep aware that as much as good as your example is, the element that so many people, I don't expect anyone to know this normally. I'm just bringing you guys insight from like a business point of view that I'm seeing working for these companies is that their server costs, you have to pay for licensing. The collaborations, you also pay licensing on top of that. So like any sort of like other IP that's going to collaborate with this IP, you're paying that too. So like everything has a price point, and there's a lot of people that like don't understand or see that, and that's also a big iffy. But at the same time, I don't expect people to know that because they're also the same people that say that Crunchyroll is the dev of this game when Crunchyroll is not the dev of this game. That's another thing that people are not aware of too.
Yeah, the existing members here and the people who are involved in the community either learned that early or already know. It's just usually the newer people, and I appreciate the insight too. By the way, I I get a little bit ambitious with my observations. A lot of my conversations are more observational or hypothetical, but you're absolutely right. There's a lot of let's say overhead. There's a lot of overhead right now, and it's just gonna take time.
I guess the only thing I could say is if you can find me an example of a Japanese IP that's licensed. So if you can find a game that's licensed and it's a Japanese IP that is doing what you just gave an example to, I'd love to see it. Like that's what I would love to see. Like something that is similar to the division of what this game is going through.
I don't think it exists.
There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah,
From
'cause you're talking about
Previous gotcha games that I played that are like Japanese IP, they follow the same thing. Yeah, $20-$30 units or skins or whatever that gives buffs and stuff, and you're never gonna get them unless you buy them.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I was always at the cusp of understanding that, but now that you've mentioned it, it's more clear to me now what we're as
Working with.
players and what we're experiencing as a group. It makes a lot more sense now that I was always on the edge of fully understanding it, but now I totally get it.
Because I'll give another example, but like before I came to Crunchyroll Games, I worked for Sega, and at Sega we worked with a lot of different IP, but mainly we had you guys might have heard it, Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage. So that's like a rhythm game, pretty popular. But what's crazy with that game is it has so many people playing it. Like the last time, like when I was there was about 200,000 or so daily active users, which is great. But the problem with it was it couldn't make revenue. So like right now, Phantasy Star Online 2 actually makes more money than that game. And Phantasy Star Online 2 has about 50,000 players, which is why Phantasy Star Online 2 is up for as long as it is because of that. So that's like another aspect to that. That's kind of like that game that even though it has 200,000 people, there's so many free to play players or people that are playing that kind of are like, even whales who play that game, they're like, there's no purpose for me to spend anything. So why should I spend, right? If I'm going to get all these characters for free, why am I going to spend? That's a bigger problem because that's an alarming thing for us because that's a quicker shutdown that people don't see from they don't see that aspect. So that's if anything, the game shuts down quicker because of that.
I've always been the guy that says, oh, I'm going to play for free because it's free. But I never stopped to think about what my money would actually be supporting the game. My other friends are gotcha whales, and they've played dozens, if not 50 or so different gotcha games in the last 10 years, and they always spend money. And I'm just like, I just never get it. But in the same breath, now that I've gotten this type of information, it's like, maybe I could afford to spend a little to support the game that I like and keep it going. So yeah, that's totally a very reasonable angle to suggest to people who might be a little, I mean, maybe not frustrated, but you have people who are a little concerned with the structure and stuff like that. But now it makes a little bit more sense to me now because of you have to support your game.
Yeah, you have think about it.
I'm gonna let other people do
You
it.
got to think about it like this. It's like in almost all video games nowadays has microtransactions. I remember, and let's take it even back in the day. Back in my day, like Maple Story, I used to play Maple Story, and that game had skins and stuff that did absolutely nothing for the game. But I spent so much money on those skins and stuff like that. So it's like,
But I think Nexon owns the servers and owns all of their stuff though too, right? Like they didn't really do a lot of collaboration.
I don't think if at all
type
they
of
did
thing.
no collaborations, from my understanding.
Yeah.
They just had their own like specialized units and went off of their marketplace and stuff like that. So like,
Yeah.
If you think about it like this, it's just, what are you spending on personally?
Right.
That's how you have to think about it.
And that's
But
where that dynamic comes from, where like I want to support the game, but if they're doing something that I don't agree with, that's when you cut back on the spending, and that's what the whole like tell them what you want through your wallet is or whatever.
This is probably the wrong place to even say this, but if Akuma and Monster Hunter Ken were $20, I would totally buy them.
100%.
Yeah, I would totally buy Monster Hunter Ken for $20. I would buy Akuma for $20. I would buy Flame Chun-Li for $20. Just like, but I don't think that'll be good.
I was gonna say,
anything.
Did you say buy Monster Hunter Ken for $20 instead of $440? Absolutely, and I think that's
that's where I think
It's weird. It's weird. It's just to be respectful to what Dino just said. It's just like, this Flame Chun-Li is the step in the right direction because they're gathering information. So like, and I said this maybe like an hour ago. If I hit that $29.99 discount on Flame Chun-Li, I might buy her. I've been so stuck on my pedestal to not spend money.
Listen,
but if they're offering this,
as a fellow Dawson user, I said it before Fire Chun-Li came out. I was like, I hope she sucks because it makes me want to buy her less. And even now, when she's kind of meh, I still want to buy her, and I hate it. I'm just like, God damn it! Why did they do this to me?
I think the thing a lot of more casual players won't realize is that like this isn't what the collaboration event characters will look like. So I worry that, well, I feel like when we see the next collaboration character and what it actually is and how it's going to be probably similar to Monster Hunter Ken's event, there will be a lot of outcry. Like, you were so close with Fashion Chun-Li or Flame Chun-Li, and
Yeah.
now this. But I think that it's
It's a different
a
product.
different
It's a
thing.
completely
Right.
it's a completely different product. So like I'll be we did it for Akuma. So like the calm Zangief and Rage Zangief was like the calm before the storm. And then
Mhm.
Akuma came out for tickets and then I was in Rage Zangief. But you know, that's just was like what I was anticipating as a community member is this
Right.
kind of backlash or what the mods or Dino is gonna be experiencing on the next one and the next one and the next one. But
Listen,
it's part of the ecosystem. And
They're learning.
if they figure out if they figure out what they need to do to keep the lights on and present it a different way, it I've always said that you don't need 10 people to spend $10 to make 100. You just need one person to spend 100.
mhm.
But I would rather make 10 people happy, and so those 10 people will be pillars in the community instead of making 9 people upset and one person happy.
Listen,
Okay.
all I'm saying is Fashion Dan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Put it on your wish
Uh,
list.
do you mind if I throw in some input?
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
just
the more the
for sure.
merrier.
So I've played a lot of mobile games. I actually worked on two. One being Age of Empire, and
Oh,
I gotta say, this game, you have to understand that so far, other than the couple of characters that you have to straight out buy, like Akuma is actually obtainable if you're free to play.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And yes, like other games have the same concept. For example, like Summoner's War has the light and dark units where you have to keep on trying to get with the 0.001% RNG, which most players who have played for 10 years straight don't even have one. While some players that have spent like hundreds of dollars have like 15. And the game is very much carried by the free to play units that are the hard meta. Like the top units in the entire game are pretty much free to play units. And while people understand that, yes, there are pay to win whale units, if you're good at the game and you use strategy and you're good at like guild content, you're running most of these free to play comps.
yeah, I appreciate that observation, but I want to propose a separation between obtainable and and unit impact. So of course, that is a whole different balancing act when you're balancing character kits. I feel that obtaining a character as a free to play unit is satisfying, but being able to use it is a completely different conversation.
Well, here's the thing. Where are you using it? Are you trying to do competitive end game content that
No.
really is not supposed to be cleared for another year from now?
No.
Or are you on like online PvP? Because the thing is that even another thing that Crunchyroll does amazing is that the online draft PvP system, that is all against players against your same skill ceiling. Like there's a reason why the number one player on the online PvP ranking are usually people with all SS units, not even triple S units, because they keep on getting matched versus other players with SS units.
Fair point. Fair point.
They could have made it where, you know, like I could queue up for ranked and it doesn't matter who I'm playing against. I have triple S everything and I can play someone who has S plus everything. And that's just not fun.
Yeah.
They did a lot of things that made it very fair with all their systems.
One thing that you mentioned that is like the base characters are really strong. Like, and I love that you pointed that out. I want to ask people, any unit, are there any unit that has come out since the game launch that has been a mandatory unit to must get?
I think
No.
that like in terms of viability, Street Poison is the closest we've seen.
And
right?
even
I
and
mean-
even then, she's only relegated to boss content, for the most part.
Well,
I've
listen,
seen. I've seen.
I'm a
some stuff.
whale. I use Sea Viper so much. I swear, Sea Viper carries my PvP, my PvE, everything. Right now in the new event with the PvP event, S Poison and Sea Viper are my two main carries. I have yet to lose to a single person with my Sea Viper.
Yeah, and so like outside of
She's
that,
free to play character.
I'm sorry.
He's a free to play
Yeah.
character. That's a brilliant point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Outside of that's what I'm saying. So like anyone and everyone like complaining, oh my god, Monster Hunter Ken was $3,000. Oh my god, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but like realistically, unless you're a whale, most part you don't need that Monster Hunter Ken. You got other units that may not be just as like insanely fine tuned with Monster Hunter Ken, but like may just do the job equal to just there, you know?
But what about his EX move, Turtle? Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Now
Joking.
you
I
speak
guess-
my language.
I'm joking. I'm
I guess
joking.
one thing I wanted to add, and this is just like this is not something that people really think about, but the moment the game launched and kind of seeing how things are, I mean, it's something interesting to think about. But what if there was 30 characters released and not 40? What if those 10, like B Sangi, for example, became something that we announced? Like, what if those characters that didn't exist in that change the public perception of the game? Because how people view it is, oh, there's 40 characters. Those 40 characters, that's just part of the game. So like, what if we said, okay, why don't we introduce 25 or 30? That's still a good amount. So I mean, I think what's happening is so many people are forgetting that there's so much to offer at the beginning of the game, that they're so used to it and accustomed to it, that anything else that's coming in new, it's almost that fear of missing out in a way. And the reality is how the game is structured currently is just the way it is right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious what others think about that, because again, if the game came out in a different way, I'm actually kind of, I'm really curious how the public perception would be had it been, 30 characters on release instead of 40.
I'm a huge proponent of like, I would much rather wait and see what the end result is more rather than just, even if it's video content, like post videos like, this is this new unit and they are busted, and then a week later it's outed that they're not that great, as an example. And I think that follows a similar kind of structure where like, I think this could be an entirely different game in a year, and I'm very excited to see like what that looks like.
Yeah, time definitely changes it. Like we've already seen it in like what 2 months that we've had this game now. Little quality of life things, but then like how Zangief put it out that like Flame Chung Li is, I think, the biggest component on how they're changing the game. Before that discount thing was never there. So they're showing us like, hey, we're listening. We just not doing it the way you guys want it to do it. That's the other thing that I think people need to like maybe work on or understand. Like, hey, like, yeah, you have a right to ask things and like want things a certain way, but taking the understanding that you may not receive it the way you want it exactly. So like be considerate of that.
Yeah, I'm probably the biggest offender of this. And I always I always compare this game to other games that I've played. I mean, you do that with everything in life, I'd assume. But I compare this game a lot to other games in the idea that I love Street Fighter so much that I want it to be like the other games that I play. But in actuality, it's a completely different entity, that's in a gotcha shell, and it's got to be, I've got to learn how to respect the process. We just respect the process. That's the basic a basic way of putting it. It's like, as a community that we've been here since launch, we've all learned to respect the process, but spreading that information to other people is that's the part that might be the hardest thing to do. Like the Reddit people or other people who are playing in their own communities and stuff like that. I, Everybody has great points about the units that we have. We got a lot of great things in the game right now, but it seems that that disrespect on the process is limiting people's view on what the horizon might look like.
It it's the
If that
biggest thing for me is the mentality of the customer is always right and the entitlement behind it, and that's the problem. And I am guilty of it myself. I'm not going to say like be sitting on my high horse and be like, yeah, it's everyone's fault. No, 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 no. I'm guilty of it myself. Where I'm like, damn, they didn't do it the way I wanted it. How dare they? But then like after time, like actually seeing it like in different eyes of like, yeah, but think about it, business aspect. Think about it, whale aspect. Think about like, because even whales like that I've had conversations on, they're like, no, this is fine, and I'm just like, you spent so much money, how is this fine? And then the way they explain it is like realistically, how what they're spending their money on is the enjoyment of the game and what the fast impact of the immediacy right now, and everybody wants that right now impact. So you gotta pay for it to get it.
No, you reminded me of something I've heard in two separate environments. One was in hospitality school, and that is the customer isn't always right necessarily, and it pairs very well with the game developer side of the community where the players don't always know best. Like
Exactly.
it comes especially in terms of like first person shooters like Apex and stuff like that where there are abilities and unique characters. Like just because somebody has a really cool idea in paper or on theory, it doesn't work in practice. Be that in terms of like Dino said, in terms of keeping the lights on and stuff like that, or in terms of practicality, like, oh, this unit would be way too good for beyond anything we could ever put into the game after that point. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that not a lot of people think about, is not every idea that the player base has is a good idea necessarily.
Yeah, because like I could, like, for
So
example, like Monster Hunter can or any collab in the future, because we were told that we can expect them to follow the same suit. So if Devil May Cry follows the same suit, we can expect that you won't be able to get him free to play, or you might get one. And if he's not legendary, I as a Devil May Cry fan, like inside I'm crying, and that sucks. And as like a minnow,
just throw them out at master.
what happened?
Throw them out at master and see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a chance, but I'm saying like if they keep it where it's like, all right, let's say he's Inferno, because like I mean he's literally a demon. There's no reason why he's not Inferno. So like he should be
Sure.
Inferno, and if he's Inferno, then I need 14 copies. I don't got the money for that. And I will never get him. So as a Devil May Cry fan, that sucks. But realistically, I
You can
also
offer him an
understand why they're doing it that way. It's catering for the fans that do put the money in.
but they also have to pay for the licensing.
Yeah.
From the point that Dino brought up. So here's the only thing I wouldn't say. Like I wouldn't want him releasing at Legendary would put too much strain on well, it would put strain on new players because they would have to have another triple S for him to
But
link
that's
to.
good though. I legitimately think all pay to win units should be legendary. I honestly think that's the case because like you have to think about it like this. If you're realistically playing the game, in order to hit 240 and if you're using other legendary units, you need triple S's anyways. And then
I
once
think
you
that-
hit 120 in the elemental towers and you have 15 triple S's, you get the key, the ring or whatever. So it's a goal that you're gonna hit regardless.
The main drawback that somebody already brought up in the chat, probably close to an hour ago, is that legendary units don't offer any faction bonus, so you're inherently hurting your team builds by cutting out on that extra 5% damage.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll
Uh,
play that. I don't care. I literally use 2 faction units, so YOLO.
Yeah,
So-
I'm okay with it.
I think
it was
that
just
2
like-
faction
it was
units
just-
is fine, but approaching the max.
Nah, man. If I could have a whole team of faction units, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Oh, give me faction. No. You think? Listen. If I pray,
Listen.
if Fashion Ken is the actual fire Ken of my dreams that I've been waiting for, Fashion Blanca, Fashion Ken, Fashion Chung Ni. Yes, please give it to me, Daddy.
Listen. Everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm a Dawson user, so I'm biased, man.
Here's a bad take. Here's a bad take. What if they retool the legendaries to accomplish something that would incentivize people for buying them? So like we're looking at the faction as something like if you amass all of these faction characters, what is stopping it from being beneficial instead of detrimental to team building? Like why wouldn't
I think it
you
pushes.
just retool
I
it?
think it pushes too much to the pay to win side.
I think the other thing is they already have a major benefit in that they can be SSS +5 right off the
Yeah.
bat if you have the unit.
Like
for
their
it.
inherent design
Okay.
is just really busted in general.
Yeah, but to Dino's point too is like as a if you're playing the game, you're going to be obtaining a triple S character within a reasonable time frame is obtainable. So like
Takes
let's
roughly, I think.
for observation's sake, I think getting triple S characters is not an issue.
How many
but
triple S characters do you have,
Selecting
Zengi? Like right now,
I have 5. Well, I have 4 on the cusp of 5.
and you've been playing since launch.
Yes.
So that's roughly a month to 2 months. So you could think about it like this:
Yeah.
4 to 5 every 2 months.
4 to 5 fashion characters every 2
If
months.
you're being casual, unless you're cracked out like Tix, who has 14 right now, 15. You
Yeah.
know, there's some people who are especially special in this game. Tix.
We'll put it on the we'll put a pin in it in the hypothetical Zangief's master plan to retool faction units or a legendary unit retool. We'll just put a pin
Yeah.
in it.
Well, see, look, there's a lot of opinions right now. 11 free to play casual says 11 SSS in 43 days. Tix it has 15. Valiant has 17. Like 14. Teletubby says 14. So like the ranges
I could
like jump up
definitely
and
have
down.
more. I could definitely have more
To clarify,
if I did
have
Inverse
14
World.
approaching.
What's that?
To clarify, because someone said Valium has 17, I have 14, but I will have 17 when I get more food.
Oh,
just to
awesome.
clarify.
Okay. And here, you know
So
what?
you-
This is the perfect example.
get there.
Here's the perfect example. Let me ask you a question. Those that have more than double digits triple S's, did you feed your A units to other A units to get them to SSS, or you saved them?
Absolutely yes. I don't.
Okay.
do
See.
the-
Okay. So now.
No, I did not.
Okay. So
Except for a random guy.
here's the thing.
Absolutely yes.
I only have, I think, 4
Equal-
SSS, and I've been doing it, but I don't know how the hell y'all got 11 to 15 triple S's. Like that's luck on your side.
All Sam is Dino's food.
Listen, Dino, that's fighting words right now. That's all I gotta say.
I do want to
that's
clarify.
funny.
Sylvius did point out to me faction bonuses do work for legendary fighters. They don't have a factional advantage.
Ah,
So I was
okay.
I was wrong on that.
Okay.
So if you had
Okay.
4 legends, you would still get the faction
Oh,
bonus.
that's cool. Well,
Ah,
thank you,
okay.
Sylvia. That's
see,
interesting.
remember I put it on the pin on the board. Yeah, we can take that pin out.
Yeah.
We've reached the we've reached a conclusion that I don't read things, so I don't know these things.
No, I suffer from I don't want to read as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, to just tell me what I want to know. I don't what reading.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing is like the way when Pick said it, it sounds so simple, and sometimes it sounds condescending. But reality, it's not. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to be disrespectful. Just legitimately read the kit, because like here's the thing. I can go up and down, left and right on in the entirety of Dawson on why he's good. And you may not understand it. You may be like,
There's
Burn goes
a
burr, and then that's it. But if you read the kit yourself, you may be like, oh, that's what that guy was talking about. And it hits
an old
different.
meme.
It hits different.
Yeah, there's an old meme for Magic the Gathering players. So you know
Reading the card
when you're
explains
when
the
a new
card.
when you yeah, reading the card explains what it does. So like you'll be like if you wanted to be a if you had friend like if you were close to the other guy that you're playing against and they're like, oh, what does it do? It's like, oh, dude, did you know reading the card explains what it does? And you would hand them the card out of respect, but it's just like that's the meme. It's like reading the card explains what
I
it does.
used to be
And
that
was
player.
just
When someone was like, what does it do? I wouldn't say anything. I would literally just hand them the card. You don't, because
Yeah.
that's the most like simple way of saying read it.
yeah, read it. But like if I knew I was already gonna win the match and the guy's asking me what it does, like I'll just point out like I'm gonna win. Like this kills this, I'm gonna win. But that was another time.
So for the actual podcast itself, we're hitting 2.5 hours. So we covered a multitude of different things. The call and the talk can continue. You guys don't have to leave. But as for the podcast purposes, we like to thank Colin for doing the wonderful video. Very informative. And if you have anything to say,
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to do it. I'm glad I could be on for the podcast. And I'm gonna be around in the community, so
remember, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get them to 690. If you guys want to see that infamous Dan run, I'm excited.
nice.
Yeah, nice. Let's go. Friday fighters are out.